Hello, everybody. How's it going? Um, Mathwiz is here. Say hello, Mathwiz. Damn it, I did it again.
Hello.
I,
Welcome to the Den Show podcast. This is my guest. Hello. Hi.
you're the guest. What are you talking about? I did have to mute and unmute the desktop audio, so let me know, guys, if Mathwiz's audio is too quiet or too loud. Because I don't, yeah. I know its balance relative to the game is good, but yeah.
Danganronpa.
Dingle Rumpus. Dang it, Grandpa. Damn it, I didn't do a funny thing. I've been trying to do that every tweet of just saying Danganronpa in a different way because, I don't know, that was a kind of old meme, but I just realized I forgot to do it this time, so I'm a fraud.
I used to do that too. Like, I would switch around the letters so it'd be like Rangandompa or
There we
like
go, that's a good one.
something like
Um,
that.
uh, Also, I assume Master Spoon's joking because he says, "Can't believe they announced Danganronpa 4 at the State of Play," and I don't know, I didn't see anything, so I'm just gonna assume that it's not even real. Um,
Rip Sayaka.
Unfortunate. So how are you doing, Mathwiz?
I'm doing pretty all right, I'd say. You know, some ups and downs in the last week, but things are good today.
Oh,
I am here.
that's
We're
nice.
doing the Danganronpa, which is like, you know, some good, some not so good in this chapter.
Okay, yeah, it should be interesting. Um, uh, and
How
yeah,
are
just
you doing,
oh,
Craft
I'm doing
Store?
good. I had work. I might not have work tomorrow. I don't know yet. It's weird, and that shouldn't happen normally, but it is what it is. I won't
Mm-hmm.
divulge. It's not super important, but I don't mind not having work. God damn it, Colin, that's funny. um, Danganronpa Horrors already released 49 Danganronpas. Yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, I was gonna say because I mean maybe everyone here just and everyone who will ever listen to this VOD knows. I mean, I expect most of them know who you are because we've been friends for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but maybe they don't know your specific history with Danganronpa. If you want to talk about that briefly. Um,
Yeah. I also just looked at your tweet and I saw that like you added me at the start of it. Is that when it only shows up like on like does Twitter
um,
still have that bug where like you can't start with an at, you have to put like a dot in front of it or
no,
something?
I had no problem. So I mean, I see the tweet. I don't have a dot in front of it. I didn't know about that actually. Oh, that's why people do the dots and used to do the dots in front. Huh. I
Yeah,
never
because
knew
it's
about that.
like
But
it
it
wouldn't.
seems like the tweet like it has a like and a retweet, at least one. So it's visible. Apparently it's visible to you because you saw it. So I guess it's fine. So I guess I fixed
Yeah,
that.
I think how it works is like for people who would follow you and the person you at, I think is how it used to work, but it's such a buggy mess these days, so it's like that might not be the case anymore.
Well, hopefully it works fine. Um, but anyway, you can keep going ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what the question was.
Oh, your history of Danganronpa, in case for someone who just doesn't happen
Oh
to know.
yeah.
Um,
So my first time going through Danganronpa was uh what, like about 3 years ago now. I did like a I
oh
streamed every
God, it
game
was
on.
3 years ago.
I think
Um,
it was. Yeah, no, it was 2021 because I remember it was the same year that I started
mhm.
HRT, so it was like
Okay.
they lined up pretty well. But yeah, I streamed all the games. Was playing it with a friend who knew everything and trying not to spoil me. Uh, it it was a time. You know,
Hmm.
I am a fan of the Danganronpa, but Danganronpa also mixed bag.
Yeah. And I was also gonna say because we did also we watched my old Danganronpa videos, and that stream should I believe it's still up on the Matt's Wizardry channel that we did the Nensho on, right? Um,
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Yeah, because it's just something that, because I mean, I've rewatched my own old some of my old videos recently, but those were still someone might enjoy them if they ever
Oh
went back and
God,
saw that.
that one was 2 years ago.
Oh boy.
I'm like, if I link it in chat, is YouTube gonna hit me with the ban hammer or something?
It should be fine. I mean, well, I would think so.
That might have been more of a Twitch thing. I think sometimes
Yeah, I would.
Twitch would like they don't like links
If I have to
unless it's
like
approved.
approve it, then hopefully, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to pray. Uh,
My history with Danganronpa is that Kraft started streaming it and I binged all of it. All 56 games and spin-off.
Powerful.
Right. I have also played through most of Danganronpa S.
Oh yeah, see, I started it. Just I forget why. I was just I don't know, but I have not gone and done a full playthrough because I do want to have say I've finished all the Danganronpa games, and that's one that I've missed or I'm not finished with yet. I still have it, but yeah. Like actually comes to think, well, there's still definitely other Danganronpa media I haven't gone through, like the manga or so. Like I haven't gone through the Courier light novels are translated. The Togami ones I don't think they are. Apparently they're not that good. So there's definitely more Danganronpa for me. But yeah.
Oh yeah, right. The other big thing with just like my attachment to Danganronpa is that I took all of those like live stream VODs and then like cut them up into highlights, and it took me like over a year to get the third one out.
Yeah, but I mean, in fairness, it was like what 5 or 6 hours of just the highlights or something. I feel, am I or no? I must be.
Yeah,
Okay.
the first one is like almost 4 hours. The Danganronpa 2 one's like 5 hours, and then V3 is like 4.5.
Okay, I gotcha. I just remember them being pretty long. Damn. Oh yeah, earlier a banter I was gonna point out, but you were talking. You were answering the question I asked you was Ishimaru was like, "Oh man, it'd be messed up to sleep with a corpse in your bathroom," and Mondo's like, "What the fuck, man?" It's just like I don't know. I was just rereading it. I was like, "That's yeah, that was dark." So yeah.
I just remember regarding the bathroom, like, a joke that, like, the person I was streaming the game with had said, like, how chapter 1 is very, like, you know, the different, like, sewing kit versus whatever the boys had.
The tool set?
And, like,
yeah,
the tool set, and, like, the girls' bathrooms have locks on them, but the boys don't. And then like Makoto's ends up being like a stuck door, so it's like it's not locked, but it's like it's locked. And the person I was streaming with saying that was like a metaphor for trans masculinity, which I thought was funny.
I have heard the Nike trans thing even before you started playing Danganronpa. But you know, it definitely came. You know, it came. I'm sure. Yeah, there it is coming up again. But I hadn't heard it connected to the door though. Before you started playing it. So interesting. Did I prefer my first playthrough or my second? That's a good question. It's been so because they were pretty close to each other. So, I don't know. I'd have to think about that just because, like, you know, my first was interesting because it was my first one and I got to experience a lot of it without spoilers. I'd say, I guess, I probably, aside from my first one, my more interest. So I guess I'd say compared to just my first or second, definitely the first one. But really, I'd say my last playthrough in like 2020, maybe it was 2021 because I played it after you played it. because it was my
Mm-hmm.
conversations with you in private that I thought were interesting, and I was like, I should revisit the series so that I can add to my fanfic and then make another video, and then it ended up also becoming like, oh shit, there's another video here because there's some interesting things I never talked about. Um, so that I'd say that's probably like my favorite playthrough that I recall, just because it's like I was surprised there was still more to get out of it, even though like this is a game I played so many times. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was nice.
I mean, each one is like what, like 40, 50 hours or something like that, unless,
Give or
well, I
take.
mean, if you skip stuff like the free times and stuff, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't. I see. I never clocked, or I'd have to go back and count up my hours from my footage that I gathered. Even though the footage isn't very good because my computer wasn't very good. But I think I mentioned there. I fucking nodded off at least once because I remember there's like a half an hour to an hour long stretch in one of the Danganronpa 2 investigations where I just like not I just do it. I'm old. I don't know. Maybe it's an old person thing. Maybe it's not healthy. But I do just nod off on my seat sometimes. Um, and not like fall asleep. Like I'm still conscious to a degree, but I'm aware of what's around me. But my body is just like, nah, I'm out. So like if I willed up enough power, I could just wake up, so to speak. But it is what it is. Yay, ideological conflict of existing within flawed systems. Because yeah, like Chihiro is like, oh, we're the killers because we killed Leon. And Nike's like, but the mastermind. And Monokuma's like, fuck y'all, because Monokuma's a bitch.
Chihiro is good.
I agree. Oh right, I forgot. I was like, hold on, this wasn't serious, was it? Uh,
Yeah, Danganronpa is definitely something like going through it for the first time. It's like, everything has some level of like unsettling uh
mhm.
energy to it. So it's like, oh, we cut to black. Who's gonna die here?
No, for sure, the atmosphere is definitely. I feel like just the being trapped inside lends it to a different atmosphere compared to Danganronpa 2 and V3, where you do have you're outside, so there's like even though the characters are still trapped in the same way, definitely has a different vibe to it.
Yeah, no, I do like the different settings across the games and kind of how that recontextualizes certain aspects.
Honestly, one thing I was just thinking about is how like someone just fucking died, and the next morning they're doing just stretches, right? Like back to the normal school life.
Hmm.
Because I don't know. I mean, I imagine it'd be treated more serious in reality, but like, the flowers on the desk thing that they do for dead students, like there's still a level of like, we're remembering this person, but also we're still here at fuck school studying again, right? Like, it's just they just kind of have to move on in
Hmm.
a sense. But obviously Danganronpa, Monokuma is a bitch, just so he's like deliberately doing that in like a mocking way. Um,
I feel like I still haven't quite like I just kind of assumed like once I figured out who the mastermind was, just like the way that I feel like Monokuma kind of inherently serves as characterization for the mastermind,
oh,
but I feel
absolutely.
like there is so many different lines of dialogue that it's like I'm not sure what the like thread would be that ties the two together.
I kind of read it as basically, because Junko, she's a nihilist. She thinks everything is, doesn't have a meaning and it's all stupid, basically. So Monokuma is kind of her way of lambasting, the world in a sense. Is kind of what I take. take out of it. Like, I'm trying to remember.
Mhm.
There was one line. The Monokuma. I think we'll get some Monokuma theaters, and maybe I'll have some things to say about that. But you know, and you know, part of it is also because like Monokuma, he's the principal of the school. He's the leader of this system, and he's the one sort of for you know, pushing this system. I think there's one line that I remember thinking of interesting where it's like, you know, instead of you know, the deaths that society you know, doesn't forgive. What's more interesting is the deaths that society does forgive, or something like that. Where basically, like, to Junko, it doesn't matter, but you know, obviously some death is treated differently than others, and you know, my sort of analog for why is it a killing game? Why is it a trial, right? Like, and it's, you know, systems of logic that you know, the students have to learn and master. Basically, like, I think I explained it to you as you know, if in a competitive capitalist society, you know, you have to compete with each other theoretically, and in, you know, in a sense, you have to kill one another to survive, like by taking away from other people's lives, taking resources and space and positions that would affect the livelihood of others. Like, you have to kill them. So in order to graduate, they literally have to kill each other. They have to accept the death that they're living, you know, you know, necessitates, in a sense, because of just how the world is. You know, so in her eyes, like, you know, she think like that would be a death that people find is acceptable, but you know, which she in her comparison, like, her more direct deaths are apprehensible, but you know, it's just like that, you know, it doesn't matter to her. So I don't know. Hopefully it's my ideas are getting across.
No, I get what you're saying.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, like there were definitely points in your old Danganronpa videos that were interesting.
Let me raise the volume of the game a bit, because apparently it's too quiet, or maybe, yeah. Oh, that's way too loud for me. Oh, is that Bree?
Hi, Bree. One thing that, like, it took me a while to kind of, I feel like it's always kind of finicky, is just figuring out how to manage, like, what audio the stream hears at what level, and then, like, the playback that I hear whenever it's like I'm doing the stream.
Well, see, it sounded good to me, but then I realized but I didn't keep track of what level I had the desktop audio at, so I probably had the desktop audio too quiet. So you were still good, but I wanted you to be louder than the game. So, yeah, hopefully it's not too loud right now.
Yeah, at that point, it's even like, I think something I've done with you in the past when we were like watching old videos was just like, sometimes you can even go into the Discord, like,
oh yes, and
adjust volume that way. True. Which is a good feature to have.
I agree. Discord is it's pretty useful. Which one of these bathrooms is important again? I think it's this one that has like the broom closet.
Yeah, I think so.
Doesn't matter, but you know, it's just something I was thinking about. And here we go. Most important part of the chapter, or at least the most important area of the chapter.
Cool hype. The most exciting thing that happens in this chapter, the characters get to see a pool.
And of course, we always talk to Chihiro first.
Yeah, I would always, like, I remember being frustrated anytime I would, you know, because I'd want to see all the lines of dialogue. So anytime I talk to the person who progresses the game, it's like, no. And I mean, like, this is a pretty important kind of context moment.
Chihira's so cute. Sorry, the blushes and the tears. It's like, my heart.
It is kind of funny the way that, like, Makoto just never picks up on anything, so it's like, that's a weird phobia. Locker rooms?
You know, his density is legendary. And it's fun. It's like he's not dumb either, because he figures out the trials and shit, you know, eventually. Yeah. But he is. Everyone has their skills.
And you know, even if there's a mistake, Kyoko's there to just kind of poke him in the right direction.
Exactly. Anyway, now we talk to the girls. We have to talk to the gun. You'd think that would be what most people touch first. Touch on first, rather. Aoi can take bullets. She's strong.
I can definitely see how, like, streaming these games as, like, a replay could definitely be kind of weird, because, you know, when something interesting happens, it's like, yeah, okay, you can talk about that, but a lot of the lines of dialogue are, you know, it's not like there's a hidden meaning to every single
No, for sure. I definitely, no, because I realized that, like, I was doing it before, because it's like, you know, having chat to play off is great, but, you know, I just don't have much to add a lot of the time, which is really unfortunate, because it's like, yeah, I have played it a million times. So, yeah, Asahina is funny and dumb. She's good. But it's like, yeah, I don't have every time she says something funny or dumb or good, I can't just say that, can I? Can I?
I like how Asahina has two brain cells. It's like swimming and donuts.
Yes. And that also is like, and now I'm just like intelligence scaling her versus Hagakure, who has one brain cell, because he sold the others, I assume.
No, I don't know. I think Asahina's still at least smarter than Yasuhiro, because she does,
that's why I said she has two brains. She's twice as smart, at least.
She uses all her brain cells in, what, chapter 4?
Yeah, like, it's really funny. I mean, part of it is because there's so many different, like, players, but, like, you know, chapter 4 is probably what, like, the more, like, complex of the normal cases, I would say. So, and what she did is just so, like, simple and elegant, but it's also so, like, it's, I don't know, it's perfect because it does kind of work for her being, like, less intelligent. But also, it's still so, I don't know, Child 4 is like, it's the best one in the game. Oh, this is, look at the little bear drawing. It almost looks like a pig nose, but but it's, I know it's a bear nose, but I don't know.
Do these change in every chapter, or is it just per room?
I think it's per room, because, like, I just wanted to check it out, because I think in chapter 1, there's literally, like, one that says, like, hidden beauty or something, because Junko is hiding. She's the literally a hidden beauty. And it's just like, you motherfuckers, literally just like spoiling the main antagonist. It's subtly in the fucking, you know. So I've just been trying to check those to see if there's any more, anything else interesting. Because you only need to go into them if you want to do a free time event, and the character just went to that room. But obviously, you can just do the free time events in the school modes, so it's not usually, like, there's whole ass rooms in the school you just don't ever need to go to, and you might never see, right? So that's why I felt like, I'll go check out this one. Dude, he put hard fucking read. Holy shit. Like, damn. Just fucking saw into her soul there. Because I'm pretty sure Genocider makes references to that several times. So, yes. Because I think I was talking about before how think it's neat that, you know, Genocider is everything that Fukawa represses, you know, so part of it is like, you know, her murderous habits and her, you know, well, not her desire for love, because obviously the actual Fukawa shares that too, but just, you know, she as a literature writer of like hard, serious literature kind of dismisses all the trashy stuff. But that includes her
isn't art.
Exactly, right? So, and like, you know, but that includes the BL stuff that she actually does secretly like. So, unfortunate. Though I guess the fucking, what's it called? When it ranks how well you did in level in Ultra Spare Girls is like very much a shoujo art style kind of thing going on. So, you know, same kind of thing she's just missing here.
The dialogue is very modern. Oh, also there was a question in chat. I don't know if we got to it. How do you feel Aoi's strength plays into Sakura's story, if at all?
I'm not sure what she means by Aoi's strength. Like strength as a character or like physical strength? I assume the former, but oh, physical. I don't know. I don't think it, because that's the thing. It doesn't really come up that much. Because I mean, you know, she is physically, you know, it's just like Aoi's skill set just isn't super helpful for the survival game. Where like Sakura is able, like, you know, she tries to fight Monaco. Oh yeah, I guess it makes sense that the two would get like, you know, connect obviously because like, you know, they're our friends. So you know, they both have this similar skill set and they're both interested in getting swole and fit. So I don't know. It just makes sense, and then it happens to result in the 4th chapter. So
they are kind of interesting, I guess, in terms of like the as far as chapter 2 goes. Like I think they definitely offer some what's the word I'm trying to say? I guess just like perspective on the whole angle of like toxic masculinity.
Okay.
Because like Chihiro,
oh yeah,
you know, wants to be strong but feels like, you know, like a guy can't be weak or something along those lines. It's been a bit, but you know, like Sakura and Asahina being very like athletic and martial arts and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's well, because I even from the beginning, like I just because I thought it was interesting how like because I was looking up the voice actors when I first started, and I found out that Chihiro's voice actor is a guy in Japanese. Well, I don't know about the English. Where Sakura's obviously voiced by a girl, and I just thought it's like, oh, so you have this very like, you know, hyper masculine like, you know, girl character, and then you have this very feminine guy character. And I just remember just like there's even it's interesting because the characters really don't have any real meaningful like interactions or anything. Like they're not a pair like you know, Sakura and Aoi are, but I feel they still feel like inversions of each other in a sense, like they're meant to, because you know, for all of Sakura's strengths, she has her own hang-ups and stuff like we see in her free times where she's like embarrassed about the fact that she loves a boy because, you know, she's kind of perceived as, you know, not a normal girl in a sense. So yeah, and of course, you know, Chihiro also has their own anxieties. So yeah, I think I got the lost thread a bit there. What were we talking about?
Gender.
I guess, yeah, you're right. It all comes back to gender.
I feel like just, you know, anytime I think about chapter 2, it's and I feel like the reason I'm so interested in it, like I think it's my second favorite chapter in the game, but it also has some of my like least favorite elements.
Yeah.
Because it's like the story it's trying to tell with like the toxic masculinity and how that's like the way that Mondo and Chihiro like contrast each other is really interesting. But it's just like it's hard to not see the aesthetics of like trans panic or gay panic or whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, like once you pointed out the fact that, oh, there's these changing room, these gendered spaces that are very binary, and also if you go into the wrong one, you'll literally be fucking murdered, right? As if, you know, Monokuma is sort of this like example of society's like, you know, expectations based on born sex, right? And then like once you pointed like, oh yeah, genders, because like especially less so now, I feel. I mean, at least I'm hearing about it less, which is probably a good thing. But bathrooms being such a talking point, I feel like that was a bit more common back in 2021. And not saying it isn't now. I just feel like I don't hear it brought up as much. I mean, now we have fucking there's with Florida recently with the driver's license that's fucked up in a different way. But like, yeah.
Wait,
so,
the driver's license? I don't know if I've heard of that.
So basically, if Joe retweeted it, but basically the if your driver's license has a gender on it that's different from your sex, it's like fraud. You could be you could be fucking charged for fraud, basically.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does. I guess. Well, mine says sex on it, so like that. You know, is. But there's. It's the. I don't know. It's fucking. Like, it's still fucking shitty, but
You
like,
say this was Florida?
It's a systemic, tool of, you know, no. Just here. Let me link it to you actually, because it's relevant. Sorry, because Joe tweeted it, retweeted it. There, yep. Here, I'll link it. Like, I'll just link his tweet to you since it's easier for me. There we go. Okay, back to the game. Because maybe I'm misremembering what it was, but anyway,
it's depressing.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Tanya was reminded of the Harry Potter, because that I remember that coming up too. But like I don't, because I just like, I mean, that's certainly her vision of like, guys can't go into the girls' space basically, but girls can go into the guys' space. Was what I remember that being about. So. Jacob Rowling, why'd you have to be a piece of shit? Oh, I don't. Interesting. I don't know. I never saw that tweet actually. I feel like Mathwiz might. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Coleman Colton Hose comment.
Well, I'm also not sure what the tweet is. I haven't seen it.
Okay, gotcha.
I feel like one of the problems I had with Chapter 2 is just, like, for me, it felt like it's written in such a way, and, like, I'm not assuming intentions of the creator or anything. It just feels like it's written in a way that doesn't consider, like, trans people being a thing. It's very, like, binary in how it approaches everything. Like, I feel like it could even be, like, I mean, and it's like, it doesn't really change the story of the game either way. It's just like, I don't know. So, I mean, like, if it was written nowadays, maybe there'd be a little more awareness and they'd, like, tweak some things a little. But I feel like if you change the story too much, then it's like, I don't know, you maybe can still get that toxic masculinity narrative, but yeah, it feels more ignorant than prejudiced. Yeah, I feel like that was my takeaway from it.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure you could still write this, something similar and get the same ideas across while still being clear. Like, I don't know what you would have to change off the top of my head, but like, I mean, even just like having because I remember one of the things that you brought up in our discussions was just that, because Chihiro themselves, they never get to have the chance to talk to identify, right? Like, because they're hidden,
Yeah.
and then they die, and all the characters, like, I think I did point out that it's like it could be a translation thing, but the fact that like once they find out the truth, they just start referring to Chihiro as male,
Yeah.
which is like, that's relevant to trans people, like boy moding, and or in this case, it's girl moding basically. But even that, it's like, yeah, it's just not having the free the what's how autonomy, agency of coming out with your own identity and having it forced
Yeah.
out instead. Like that's
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the trans slash like gay panic of it, that Chihiro doesn't really have any agency in the way that everything goes down. So it's just kind of a bad taste of like, oh, everyone is like, this is this character's true nature, and it's like Chihiro. It's like, I don't know. Like I still like a lot of the ideas that are in this, and I feel like in some ways the way that it presents the material is part of why I think the whole toxic masculinity angle is interesting. But like, yeah, no, I think just like you said with the translation, like everyone just switching to like complete. Now, I guess it's not necessarily treating Chihiro differently, but that they're also willing to just switch pronouns, which, like you said, maybe that's not in the.
Yeah, because in Japanese it would be easier to refer to characters in a gender neutral way. Like I remember we talked about it before or after, but I remember there was an back when Danganronpa 2 had fan translations of the Let's Plays, not of the actual game. There was people were talking about, because at the end of chapter 3, Sumiki refers to the person she loves in a gender neutral way without saying guy or girl, because it's supposed to be ambiguous, because there's the heteronormativity where you're supposed to, oh, maybe she's in love with the guy, but then it turns out to be Junko. And so how they translated officially is they used my beloved, which I thought it's a pretty good gender neutral way to refer to that. So it's probably, it could be that Chihiro is also referred to as a gender neutral sense both before and after, but you still have Nisa through the English translation putting the changing the pronoun, right? Yeah, for just be and having it, like, it's understand, like you can't avoid that reading that because this is the only translated. Well, I guess Zetsubo Project Online probably, I don't know, I never went back to check the oh, what's it called? Fuck, I read chat for a second and I lost the thread, but wow, I just completely forgot what I was talking about. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure where you were leading.
Yeah, sorry. Wow, it's just completely, I'm just amazed at how completely gone it is. But that's my brain, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's just normal for me. That happens to me on stream all the time. I'll go to say something and then it's just like, I don't know where that went. Moving on.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah, it's kind of like the only character that seems to sort of, like, it's kind of ironic, the only character that seems to really respect Chihiro's identity in terms of, like, like, the only person Chihiro trusted to actually be honest and say, like, like, wanting to be strong and all that is the one who killed Chihiro.
Yeah. Well, especially because obviously the game doesn't treat it this way, but how you talked about how, like, oh, Chihiro comes out and is honest about their gender with a character, and the first thing that character does is kill them, right? Like that's like even it's because it's like on accident the game so perfectly captures a lot of the fears that trans people go through, right?
Yeah.
Because it comes from, I feel like, a level of binary and just not really getting it, but it's still like just perfect. Like it's so, I could see why it might be frustrating, right?
It really is like a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, that being the reveal that leads to the murder is like you said, that's the fears that people have, but it's also like that being the trigger for Mondo insofar as like Chihiro had the confidence to be honest and like try to move forward in a way that Mondo didn't. So it's like I like it, but I don't like it in different ways.
It's complicated. It's your Facebook status is it's complicated. So
yeah, like I know at one point I had thought about making a video on chapter 2 and talking about all this.
See, I didn't want to bring it up because I figured this would like part of the reason you were interested, or like I forget who had the idea. Maybe I think it was you who had the idea of joining me. But I definitely had the thought of like, oh yeah, you want to make a video on this trial. So even if we just have more of your thoughts here, because obviously for your stream, it was very much a like you're experiencing in the moment, so that's your like initial reaction. But now you've had several years of like hindsight, and we've talked about it since. So even if you don't make a video, we still have the discussion we'll have across these 2 streams, I think. So at least you'll have some of your thoughts out there in the first place, and maybe you'll still want to do the video, and that'll be great. But yeah.
I just know that like if I made a video like that, the comments would be a shit show.
Awful. I agree. Yeah.
That's also kind of why like, I mean, like there are still a lot of video ideas that I want to make happen at some point, but some video ideas after a while I kind of just, you know, like there's the one that I might just pass off to you and you can make the video instead.
Yes.
Because it's just like, you don't read the comments, so it's like, then neither of us have to deal with it.
Yeah, right. That's fair. Because this is a video I don't think I'll be making, even though I do think this topic's interesting. But you know, I just like emotionally, I feel like there's other stuff that I care about more, if that makes sense. Which I think is completely normal, and I would be really cool. So I will say, since you the original concept for the video, I forget. The idea was that it was going to be edited like a Danganronpa trial, and the idea was that me and you were going to be debating, where I would be on the sort of like, because I had some wrong-headed arguments at the time. Like one of them I was pointing out was like, but actually by the text, Chihiro is male, and it's like, but that doesn't stop the game from. So I would have been like the wrong person in the debate, if that makes sense. Because I don't think my arguments were really even again. I was more focused on the authorial intent side, which because I do legitimately think that ultimately Chihiro is meant to be sympathized with, right? Like, but it's also a fact that Chihiro's a victim of things that can be terrifying to trans people, right? Like, oh, you went into the wrong bathroom, I guess we're gonna have to shoot you. Like, that's obviously horribly exaggerated, but it's a real fear,
Yeah, like it's not like what Mondo did is in any way painted as the right thing, because it's not.
Yeah.
What was I gonna add on to that? Now I think I might have lost my thought.
Oh no.
I just feel like if I wanted to make like a proper video on that, I'd have to do like a lot of research on different things, and at least right now that feels like I'm not that interested to
well, because you
be the one to make that. See, like my reading has never really been that like, oh, this means Chihiro is trans, like I agree with you that, like, as far as, like, authorial intent and stuff, like, the text is definitely saying that it's a narrative of toxic masculinity and that Chihiro is male. But it's just, like, while I can respect that as being, like, this is what the story is saying, it's, like, the aesthetic of it all, that it's, like, I can't just not experience that as well.
And I've also heard that a lot of queer readings are even in like rejection of the text anyway. Like, actually, one comparison I was going to make is because I remember from Lindsay Ellis talking about the J.K. Rowling situation, because she did a crime novel where the murderer was a man who dresses as a woman, basically, right? And she even showed a clip of a review where it's like, well, it's not really about trans people because this character isn't a trans woman, they're a man, presenting as a woman. And then she pointed out, or if not, Lindsay Ellis in some of the comments was like, yeah, but J.K. Rowling doesn't believe trans people exist. She believes all, trans women are men presenting it, right? Where in comparison, I think that even if, like, Kodaka sort of ends up saying something similar, I don't think it's coming from a mean-spirited place, right? Like that there's even though Chihiro is also like a man presenting as a woman and not a trans person by the text, right? So, but in the same way, you can't ignore how like her video on the history of trans characters in film was really good, right? So,
the whole idea of non-thematic analysis is that it's focusing on stuff completely unrelated to what the story is saying.
I guess Moro is just sort of following up with the comment on like I mentioned, queer readings have often been in rejection of the text, basically, because oh, that would be cool, Colin, if you happen to have that knowledge.
Okay. If I want to deal with chat size limitations.
Write it up and then leave it as a comment on this video, and if I remember, or you can remind us, I can check it out. Because I said 2 streams, and Tatiana was like, 2 streams, awesome. That's because we have the trial. Like, this is just going to be daily life, and we still have the deadly life. Like, I'm not going to just like, okay, we're done, Chihiro's dead, we got all the evidence, all right, that's it, no more Danganronpa streams. It's like, no, we got to at least finish the trial, come on.
I feel like, I know some people can definitely take a reading like that, in the sense of like, oh, Kodaka was transphobic and like this was intentional or whatever, and like I feel like that's the point. Like, I don't know, to me that doesn't necessarily feel like a constructive discussion.
No.
And I mean, it's like, if somebody played this game and that part bothered them and they're like, I'm not going to play any more Danganronpa, then it's like, I think that's also...
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
it's like, I can understand how people could read Chihiro is trans and latch on to that, but then I could, it's also like, when people read the text and stick to that, it's like, that's also fine.
Yeah, and what are you going to say about, like, someone being turned off is like, yeah, absolutely, I can't reject that emotional response. Then the only thing I'd respond to is like, well, it doesn't really come up again in any of the other parts of the franchise, really. So, like, if this specifically is something that bothers you, you got through it, and you don't need to do it. I mean, unless they couldn't get through the trial. Like, because I could see someone just getting to the part where they find out Chihiro's, sex, and they just like, because it's such a dumb part, honestly. Like, I remember last time I played it, I was like, you guys are freaking out for no fucking reason. Like, that's just what it feels like nowadays, right? But they're like, Ichimaru's fucking like screaming, and I'm like, calm down. Oh my god. Like, I could see someone getting to that part and just stopping and just exiting the game and like, no, I'm fucking done with this shit, right? And it's like, what am I gonna say? They're wrong? Like, no, I can't say that. Like, that's fair. So yeah. It is what it is.
But when do we get to the bromance moment?
Not soon enough. Not that this part's bad or anything, because it's just, but it is really good. I agree.
I can kind of get a feel for like what my co-host in the Danganronpa streams would have been experiencing while I was playing through it, because like while I'm going through it, I'm like, yeah, I'm invested in the story and like the mysteries. I don't know what's going on, so I gotta read everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like when you're the extra one, it's just sort of like chiming in here and there when there's an observation.
I was trying to remember the button to go to the map so I could teleport, but I forgot how to do that, so I'm just walking manually. Which is what I did for like most of my playthroughs of the game. It wasn't until like literally like my last one that I was like, oh yeah, I could just teleport everywhere, which is faster than just walking.
But sometimes, like when you walk, you bump into other characters along the way.
True. No, there's one I love in Chapter 4 when you run into Genocide. It's when I think, Kirigiri wants to plug Alter Ego into the outlet in the one of the hidden rooms. And I remember if you walk, you run into Genocider, because she's just going like bee or she's just like fucking just making fucking mouth noises that Miyuki's. And I'm not gonna skip Miyuki Sawashiro mouth noises. Are you kidding? Like, it's so dumb and funny, and there's no other reason except for just that, like, that moment of just like, yeah, we're supposed to be sneaky and hiding from all the other students because one of them could be the mastermind, and it's like, oh look, it's Genocider Show just standing there being a silly girl. So
yeah, I think I remember when we revisited your old videos that you had a clip of that, and,
yeah,
and we both just laughed.
it's so good.
Yeah, no, I love Miyuki Sawashiro's performance. The range between like
Oh, I'm so
Toko
excited.
being very depressed and like anxious and angry, and then Genocider just being over the top.
The
and-
embodiment of fun, which is
Yeah.
not a thing you should say about a serial killer, but it's true. So, God, like that's one of my things I'm looking forward to next time because it's such a fun performance. I love it so much.
Yeah. I wonder if there's also like a connection you could make between like this chapter sort of like characters having a different side to them, like it literally in the case of Toko and Genocider, but you know, like Chihiro's identity and masculinity, Mondo's like dark past.
Oh yeah. No, because I think I heard. I never checked, I don't. Not that I never checked, but I just don't remember where I found this information. But I feel like I just remember in some of the talks about the game, there was like the idea that like present the characters in as these sort of archetypes, but then spend more of the game like going into them and being like, hey, they're more than just what meets the eye at first, right? Because you like Sayaka, she puts on this front face of like she's an idol, she's happy and she's for her fans, but behind all that, she's actually like selfish to the point that she was willing to murder Naegi so that she could escape, right? You know, so that's definitely true for like a lot of the characters, you know, but it's definitely more important here because it's like, yeah, you're right. This is the chapter that reveals Genocider, who's got the most significant like other self, you could say. So yeah. Oh,
Yeah, one thing I definitely
Go on.
didn't appreciate about Sayaka on my first playthrough was just, I guess, the kind of playing with expectations of like the mystery assistant character. That it's like, oh, okay, so this character will be around for the game, you know. They're like I'm not sure. All I saw were death flags.
Oh yeah, and there's Celis spelling it out where it's like, oh, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, where she's like, this is a zero-sum game. You know, in order for some person to gain something, another must lose something. Because, you know, society, you know, I gain money, that means that's money that other people don't have, right? So, yeah.
Much more than every second case includes a serial killer, I'd feel. A better take on second cases on Danganronpa games would be every second case focus on second character's side.
Secret characters, yeah.
Oh, secret. I have like, there's like a little heart emote that's like.
Yeah,
cutting off the end of the message.
yeah, it can be rough. I've been there.
I stretched it out a bit more, and now it's not a
Well,
problem.
yeah, no, because as Muro was mentioning, every second case includes a serial killer. I was like, well, in Danganronpa 2, it's Pekko's just lying. Like she's not actually a serial killer. She's just a Yakuza bodyguard. You know, and in Danganronpa V3, I don't remember it coming up at all. But I think Secrets is pretty, because you know, they had the videos, I guess, and wow, Shirogane what's the name of the maid in V3? Why can't I remember her name?
Kirumi?
Kurumi. Okay, thank you. Maybe I was right too, but yeah, I couldn't.
Literally the prime minister.
Yeah, she's got a secret to hide, you know, so that's fair. Because yeah, I know people like to connect the different, like every third case is a double murder, right?
Yeah. The chapter 2 in V3 I remember finding really interesting because it's like the one character who has like everything to lose killing the character who claims to have nothing. So
yeah.
kind of like, you know, and Pekko's not Pekko, wrong character. They're very similar vibes.
Yeah, actually, now you mention it.
And like Kirumi's motivation being like, well, she's the it's a little silly, I think, as the prime minister, but it does get across the idea of like, you know, not just doing it for herself, she's doing it for everyone. So it's kind of like an all or nothing sort of
yeah. Well,
contrast.
What you just reminded me of is like, because yeah, it's like, yeah, she has everything to lose, and she also like she's desperately trying to survive. Like I remember how her execution starts. She literally just fucking runs away, right? Like she tries to escape the execution, and that's how like because I just remember the scene of it going into the execution cutscene. She's running away and ranting about how she doesn't want to die. Like so again, I never thought about that contrast between her and Ryoma. Neat. Oh, as in Prime Minister Hideki Tojo. That's okay. I didn't know that. Okay, that makes sense. That they, sharing a name.
She doesn't want to die. What a baby.
I was gonna say skill issue, but that's not really accurate or applicable to this.
I do find it funny that I feel like V3 was the game that like has some twists that stumped me the most, but I feel like more on average I could predict where the story was going.
Oh, the story. You mean the story on the whole, as opposed to the cases, if that makes sense.
No, I guess more the cases. Like I was able to better predict like the victims and the murderers. It wasn't like it definitely wasn't consistent. Like chapter 1, I did not get.
That one is a fucking, yeah, that one, yeah. I suppose I think my favorite though was in chapter 3 when you kind of already figured out who the murderer was, but then Ron actually accidentally spoiled you.
Yeah.
And I just like remember that clip of just the like, wait, fuck, what did I say? And you're like, well, so
it's like it was a well-disguised plan, ignoring the fact that he was the most suspicious character in the room at all times.
Basically. It is what it is.
I think the big thing that I'm proud of is, like at the end of chapter 4, I'm like, oh, okay, so spoilers. I was like, yeah, so clearly Kaito's gonna kill Kokichi in chapter 5, and then it has like the whole gimmick of the trial is just that it's like we don't know which one is which, like which one's alive. And the whole time I'm just like, no, Kaito killed Kokichi.
That's so
Kaito
fucking funny. Kokichi. Oh my god. I forgot about that. Because when I played that trial, I was just like, I didn't know what to think. I was completely strung along of just like, what the fuck happened? Like, it was such an interesting take on trial 5, basically.
Yeah.
Because like, there's, with obviously the connection between the 5th trials is like, there's an ambiguity as to who the culprit, or something about either the culprit or the victim is very up in the air, where like, and it's, because obviously Danganronpa 2 Chapter 5 is like still just the peak case in the franchise. It's so good. Holy fuck. I fucking bawled when I played it last, because I used to have my thing where I didn't like Nanami, and now it's like, well, no, I actually like her now. So that chat, God, it ruined me. And actually, now that I like Nanami, I also understood how the game better and how that case fit into, because she couldn't go against her programming, or she did. She told them, fuck. It was good.
The inverse of me galaxy braining the V3 Chapter 5 culprit and victim was going through Danganronpa Chapter 3 with the despair disease and having no even suspicion of it being Mikan, when it's like, on vibes, it's like, oh, the nurse, the chapter's about disease, so it would have been the nurse. and I never made that connection.
I mean, even if you did, it's so easy to say, well, like, the butler never does it, right? Because the butler is the most obvious one, right? The butler can be at any point in the mansion. The butler can be, is the one who has the most understandable, like, grudge against anyone in that, like, the master of the house. Like, that's the reason they can't be the culprit, is because they're too obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the nurse is the butler, but the butler did do it in case 3. So even if you did think about it, it's like, well, and it's like, nope, it is so it makes sense that, it is interesting because it's like, you didn't think about the obvious answer, but even if you had, it's still the obvious answer, though, so there's a level at which you've been like, probably not, I guess, is what I think is interesting. But no, it did do the obvious thing instead. But yeah, I guess as far as other cases, it's obviously this one for both of us had that click moment where we realized who the Mondo's the culprit, and just that because because it's like, you don't want it to be that was also me in V3 Trial 4, because Gonta is such a sweet man, and I just did not want him to be the culprit. And so I just didn't even conceive of it, because it was like, it's Oma, it's fucking Oma. And then he's like, but I can't be the culprit. And I'm like, fuck. Because there was just, I forget which one it was, but I just remember there was a part where he's just like, he basically just points out how, yeah, I can, or he says things in a way that, like, you figure out it's like, no, it can't be Oma, because I think it was because that's right, because he gets paralyzed when Miu touches him. So how could he have strangled Miu without her touching him? And it's like, fuck. Yeah. That was an interesting one, with the virtual world and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like of the chapters, 4 is like definitely not my least favorite in V3, but maybe like the least memorable for me. Because, like, 1 is chapter 1, 5 is chapter 5. Chapter 2, I remember just thinking was really solid with, like I said earlier, the contrast between the victim and the culprit. And then chapter 3 is just like Korikio.
I just love the meme where it's like, I forget, it's like, I don't, it's a different format than the that I remember, or I don't remember the format, but it was like a choice between 2 things, not this, like, the path that we have nowadays. By treating, I don't know, meme formats, I don't know, but like, it was one, it's like, complete a murder and have a leaving basically no evidence behind, and getting away scot-free and escaping on one side, and the other side, do the seesaw trick. And it's like, because he literally fucking had it in the bag, and it's like, but he just really wanted to do the seesaw trick.
Yeah, like,
God.
if he hadn't done that, I feel like he might have had better luck.
Like, it's just so dumb and silly. But it, yeah. So I was because I'm trying to read the Monica computers with Junko in mind, and I'm just thinking like, oh, Junko just stares at cute girls, apparently. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, yeah, that that chick. Wait, fucking Junko, you bitch. She just like, because obviously we go, oh, Monokuma, you're so random. But it's like, no, Junko's a cute girl. I just stare at myself in the mirror. You motherfucker. So, see, because it's like, that's like, just seeing just how much foreshadowing was there that you just never picked up on, because it's like, because I don't even remember if I don't remember if I knew Junko was the mastermind beforehand. No, I think I didn't know, but I knew of the apocalypse.
I definitely didn't know, and people in my chat were surprised that I somehow hadn't been spoiled. It just became a recurring bit. I'm like, I think ever since like Junko got stabbed in chapter 1, I'm like, oh, what, Junko's the mastermind? Question mark. And I just kept bringing it up as a bit, and nobody stopped me. And then it's like, oh wait,
I forgot about that. That's so funny. God.
I feel like for the question of if Junko never existed, do you think some similar despair would have still happened? I feel like with the themes of the game, that would be yes, because like you can't have hope without despair, and you can't have despair without hope.
Well, and yeah, and even Titania meant, well, because like even without Junko, Kamakura Izuru still exists. So I think the question is, what role does he? Because he was intended to be hope for the world, but in reality, he kind like even because I guess like his personality doesn't change like before or after Junko, but Junko puts pieces into motion that he's a part of, basically. Like you know, so I think Kamakura Izuru would have still. I mean, it's very possible that which is actually like that's interesting. Just thinking of Junko's ideals of just how like. If Junko didn't exist, everything would have happened the same way anyway, but in a way, like, she gave order to things by being in control and doing it for a game, where, like, just the thought of, like, what if Junko wasn't in control and Kamakura Uzu just let the things happen anyway? Like, it's interesting how little changes even without Junko in that hypothetical, so, I hadn't thought of it like that.
Kamakura, yes, queen.
God.
Legendary. I still have the, I've never been able to find a use for it, but I still have the clip from one of the Danganronpa 3 episodes that's like, all this just because I loved anime.
Oh God, hold on, I want to write it down because I have a video coming up and I might want to use that clip. No, maybe not, but I just thought of it. Yeah, never mind. I'll forget about it. Oh well.
I'm like, is the clip short enough that I could just link it to you on Discord, or would I have to?
That's fine, because I can play the audio and it would be funny.
No, I think it's small enough. It worked.
Yeah, let's go.
Just because I loved anime.
I hope everyone heard that. It's funny. Yeah, I remember being slightly disappointed by the dub, not because I didn't think it was good. It was fine. I was pretty okay with it. I had some issues, obviously, but but like, oh, and there's lines like that, but just a couple out of context clips that turned. I think one of them was even just like not even from the dub. Was like it came across like a fucking gag dub in some ways, and I was kind of looking forward to being silly, and then it wasn't. It was actually pretty straightforward, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's fine too.
It's pretty easy to take things out of context and then be like, this is a parody. This is. But it's like even the Kamakura Yas Queen is like that feels in character for Junko.
Junko, speaking like a teenager is like the thing she does. No, that's not in character at all. Actually, she speaks. But that's the thing. She speaks whatever the way she wants. She changes personality. It's like, yeah, like you said, it's absolutely in character.
Yeah.
Though the one I guess it was from a fan thing or a blooper thing was when at the end when Kirigiri's like I thought it was dead for a second, or there was a joke about the fact that she died and then that was when we first see her alive again because of the antidote, and just it seems like it was making fun of the story basically. But obviously, like, yeah, they didn't do that in the official dub because like they're not going to take away the from the ending, right? But it was still just like, I don't know, it was a whole thing.
Oh, I remember this scene being like a standout for this chapter, probably just because well, that, but it's also like, I don't know, I'm just the one time I thought about writing like a fanfic was like something about Chihiro in chapter 2 and looking at the dynamic between like what Mondo represents to Chihiro and then like Sakura and Asahina as like, you know, I feel like I feel like Asahina and Sakura, you know, regardless of how Chihiro presented, would be supportive.
Yeah. I mean, I think in general, like, I think because obviously I think the implication was Chihiro was bullied in school by regular people, like non-talented people. But yeah, I feel like in this environment, I don't really think any of these characters would really care that much. I don't think. I mean, maybe not everyone, because obviously Ishimaru had to freak out when he found out, but he's a fucking little baby. But generally, I think like, oh, come on, if Sakura's on your side, you're fine, right? Like, what's gonna happen? Like she'll just kill anything, but no, she's the strongest. But no, I agree. Like I think even obviously Mondo wasn't super a fan, but that's because he had his own issues. But like if they were, I don't know, it's a whole thing. I forgot where I was going with that.
Yeah, I guess now that I think about that, that's also kind of a weird thing, and well, maybe not. Like I don't know if I'd say it's contradictory. It's just like in terms of like all the characters having lost their memories, so
oh yeah,
like with the flashbacks of Chihiro, it's like I'm not sure if it mentions if the characters would have known or not.
Chihiro's because okay, so I'd assume no, because I just remembered there's the picture at the pool where they're swimming in the gym's pool, and I'm pretty sure Chihiro's like standing. Chihiro's not in a swimsuit. Chihiro's just off to the side. I'm pretty sure.
I wonder if
maybe that was Fukawa, or maybe it was both.
Well, I remember from that one like Celeste looking like she's photoshopped in on every photo, just standing off to the side, being a cryptid.
Okay, maybe I'm just not remembering at all. But
I might have the screen cap for that, but I might not. No, I don't know that I have that one.
It actually should be easy enough to find on the Wikia, because they were pretty good about keeping all the CGs in the gallery. But that's annoying. So I understand if you don't want to do that.
Oh, they're even broken up by chapters. That's useful.
No, yeah. Whenever I need an image from Danganronpa, it's the wiki is really well organized, and I really appreciate it.
There it is. Where is oh no, Chihiro's just under the water, and you can't really see. It's just gotcha. Chihiro's head.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I do like the little bits of characterization in those photos. Like, in this one, like Sayaka's posing like a model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Toko and Celeste are in the back, just standing off to the side. Well, you see in the Lost Memories, Chihiro realized they were trans, but it was erased / joking.
Oh god. Monokuma, no!
I didn't see the like tone indicator until the very end.
Oh god. Anyway, we're at the male bonding moment, so
let's go!
Oh yeah, I was shocked on my last playthrough when I found out you can actually go into the or there was a room that you can just go into, and I remember being surprised because I don't think you ever. It's like one of those rooms you never need to go into, and just yeah. Oh yeah, no, you can go into the sauna room, even though I think I don't remember if you ever need to, but I don't know. Leave me alone, Tanya. It was when you play a game for like 5 times and then you find an area in the game that you just don't fucking remember because you've never been there before. It felt weird, okay? Like imagine you just going to your home that you live to and there's like a whole ass door that you just never saw before and you open it. It's like there's a whole ass room back there and it's like, what the fuck? It doesn't make sense. The talent on the Pompadour is iconic.
Yeah. But the Pompadour's not drooping.
Because it's too powerful.
Exactly. Yeah, I love getting like perspective shots. Like the one where they're in the like class trial room and you just see everyone standing in the circle and his Pompadour is like feet in front of him.
鍋焼きうどんでも食べたいくらいだ。そろそろ諦めたら。
てめえこそろれつが回ってねえぞ。
何を言う。
This chapter also hurt me on a personal level because I think Mondo was one of the initial characters I gravitated towards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So then like that click moment in the trial itself was just like, no. Yeah, I think I even, when I did the highlights, I edited it to add text that's like the 5 stages of grief.
Perfect.
Because like my reaction just gradually evolves as I figure it out.
Yeah. Also, to Tanya bring up the male fan service was just because fucking Ishimaru is just fucking like chiseled. Like holy shit! I was noticing that after she said that. I was like, oh yeah, he's they have focused on that a bit.
Yeah, you know, there's the hidden event for the peeping on the girls in the bath. Where's the one to peek on the boys?
Yeah, we need inclusive, you know, and diversity.
Makoto goes to bed and wakes up the next morning. They're both dead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely feel like this is not a good. Just oh no, it's my bedtime. Go you little fucking baby. Are you kidding me?
That feels like an interesting one for
That
Junko.
yeah, no, that I remember when I replayed. That was one of the ones that gave me pause, and I was like, that sounds really fucking important when we're talking about a character that can literally like predict things through her analysis, right? But she still doesn't know if fate exists or not. So I don't know. I've just been thinking a lot about the ending of Danganronpa 2 because it's like I kind of feel like Junko's view of the world has been just profoundly been proven to be wrong, and yet she's still just like, because I think at the end of the day, Junko was kind of hoping for like, because she once like in the Danganronpa Zero novel, even there's a line about how like, you know, she realized she was hoping for despair, so she despaired basically, where it's like she has hopes, she wants to enjoy things, right? But you know, even that if it's through despair. And what I don't know, it strikes me about the ending of Danganronpa 2 is romance scene. I'm sorry, this is important. It's so cool.
A girl like her just doesn't get it.
Women can't be friends to each other. Even though, as we find out, Asahina is literally willing to kill people for driving Sakura to suicide, as she believes.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe Ishimaru's wrong. Anyway, so yeah, Junko, because so like Junko, you know, she thought that despairing and stuff would be, you know, enjoyable to her, but at the end of Danganronpa 2, she sees like how they describe it as like willingness to go into despair, you know, by going into the real world and with you know, their old memories and just going back to their despair selves because there might be hope beyond that. And Junko, like she sees that she sees a possible but she ultimately just goes, I'm bored, like I don't care. Like she doesn't accept it for herself. She doesn't see this as a possible path for her at all, because it's and like, so I just think about how that's interesting, because she just like, because here she is like wondering about if fate exists or not. And I think that like that's the other thing that gets me, is because I feel like in this game she kind of like, in Danganronpa 0 they even mention how she literally like sowed the seeds of her defeat, basically. And that also comes into Danganronpa 0, where I feel like with Danganronpa 2 I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like it legitimately, like, she didn't plan for that. She didn't expect to lose in Danganronpa 2. And so she did finally find something unexpected. She did see that, like, it's not even just like, oh, maybe it can be hopeful or despair, or hope or despair if we go outside, like in Danganronpa 1. It's like, no, we know we're going to deal with despair. We're just going to overcome that and go to hope beyond. Like, she saw everything that could save her, in a sense, and then she just said, no, I'm bored. I don't care. Like, it didn't, she just gave up, basically. She in the end, she really just didn't care, and nothing mattered. And all of this was just entertaining herself until she just didn't exist anymore. And I was just like, I don't know, it's just interesting how it turned out for her.
Would Junko be a Rock Lee fan and a Part 2 hater, or the other way around?
I guess she's more of the journey matters more than the destination. So Part 2 hater, Rock Lee fan. Okay. Murrow, we were talking about that earlier. About I feel like I swear to God, Genocider just straight up says Fujo stuff in Ultra Despair Girls, if not this game. And I was talking about how Genocider is basically like the parts of Fukawa that she represses, like her literal murderous tendencies for the guy she likes, or because she doesn't know how to deal with her emotions. So I think it's pretty likely that she buries that Fujo part of herself, because she looks down on that kind of art because she does literature. So, but I talked about it earlier, so I won't.
Yeah, no, I think 100%.
I just don't remember any specific Fujo lines that she has, but I feel like I swear there was some stuff that where she talked about that.
Some characters just have vibes,
Yeah, and if there's anyone who's just like super repressed, it's Fukawa, isn't it?
Before we get to the big stuff, I think I'm gonna take a bathroom break real quick.
Okay, that's cool. I think I'm going to do the same, so I will be right back.
Okay.
back. Hopefully the audio is good or fine and whatnot. Say words, Mathwiz, and if your words are too quiet, chat, let me know.
Words.
Thank you.
話しかけたいなら深川さんが
私が声かけたら私が邪魔したみたいになるでしょ
Yeah, I forget what we were talking about. Yep, Titania says we're good. So we're good. Plot important? Electrical extension cord.
当然だ
You noticed me.
Well, yeah, no, that's pretty straightforward. One thing I've never understood in Danganronpa is that there's always a character where the bit is that they don't bathe, and I don't understand.
Well, I mean, because with Hyoko, it was. I mean, Toko, it's a deliberate decision. Or it's like, because it's like something she and Genocider fight about, basically, because Genocider is the one who bathes. But with Hyoko, I remember it was because she couldn't bathe. I remember because she couldn't tie her sash, basically. So
Yeah.
she just yeah. But I don't remember the what was it, V3 again? I'm struggling to remember a character who didn't.
I'm not sure if there was a
Okay.
direct, like a specific character in V3.
Okay, yeah, I just was like trying to remember if the I guess Kibo didn't bathe, that's
A
true,
robot.
but that feels like it's cheating. He also doesn't sweat. So he was bullied and covered in bugs at one point, maybe. I don't know.
God, Kibo is a character I wanted so badly to like, and I gave every opportunity to be something I could appreciate. But the whole joke is just that people treat him like shit, and I feel like there's never really a moment where they're punished for that or shown to be in the wrong. It's just
Yeah.
it's not even just Oma. Most characters take some sort of shot at Kibo at one point or another.
Wait, did it just deny my free time? Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay. No,
The
yeah.
game is just no, talk to people.
Never! You can't make me! I get it for that in real life. Not really, but...
校内放送まもなくお前ら
Uh-oh. All these free times and I just forgot about how, yeah, we haven't really gotten really started. This is why, back when there was no school mode, this was the best chapter to do all the free times, except you couldn't do the Genocider ones, and obviously you couldn't do all the characters who die in chapter 1, but you get 5 free time events, so you can just go through and just do all the characters, so school mode's easier, so there's no need for that anymore, but yeah. Nike's so fucking tiny. Look at this shit.
Yeah, walking up to characters, it's definitely the height is funny.
How can he be so small?
Wouldn't you treat a robot like shit? I don't know what the Boston Dynamic videos are.
I'll probably just because I know there's a video. The one I saw recently was a Japanese restaurant that has robot servers that deliver plates to. I don't know. I'm going a creature of habit. Yeah.
Well, I think the main thing I was trying to get across that I didn't fully elaborate on is just with Kibo. The joke with him is always oh, the characters are oh, you're complaining about nothing, robophobia. That's so silly. But it's people do treat him like shit. And it's I don't know. Doesn't read well to me.
Yeah, because like, part of it is definitely like, I mean, like the positive way to look at it. Because I remember having a conversation with a former coworker about, and you know, because he's black and I'm white, and we were talking about just race and stuff in general, and it's like, there's a level at which I think it's in the right context, because race is a part of who we are, right? Like there we had like, you know, big kind of Connexes, kind of like big shipping containers, and I remember like I closed the door by putting my arm against it, and I ended up with like some white paint residue on my arm, and I was like, oh no, I'm too white, or something like that. Like I made a joke that was related to my race, basically, you know. And another so he's been there for years. I think he's still there. But you know, but he wasn't allowed to drive like some of the on-site vehicles that we were using. And so he had me in the golf cart driving him around, and I was like, this is like reverse driving Miss Daisy, and he's like, I hate you. But it was like we both thought it was funny, basically. You know, so it's like which for those who aren't familiar, driving Miss Daisy is the movie where Morgan Freeman drives Miss Daisy. He's a black driver for a white woman, and I was making a joke because I'm a white guy driving around a black guy, and it's just a really dumb joke. That's it. And you know, like, so at a level of like, you know, if I had a robot friend, I like to think that I'd be able to make jokes about that if they were comfortable with it, and like like that's the other thing is like, because I don't, like, off the top of my head, I mostly remember them treating Kiba like shit. And there wasn't any positive, like, it didn't come from a place of like awareness and respect, if that makes sense.
No, it's not like Kibo's in on the bit. Kibo
yeah, because he very
bit.
clearly doesn't like it, right? And that's the thing, because you know he is, yeah, you know, like, so it's not, yeah, so it's like, yeah, I see what you mean. Like maybe if I thought about it while playing through, I'd see it differently. But just from memory, I feel like it's like, yeah, they just kind of they're just making fun of him because that he is a robot, and that's the joke, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't read well, especially just thinking about how it's like, oh, it says robophobia. It doesn't. It's not a real just type of discrimination, right? It just feels like, I don't know. Maybe it never will be, but you know, if we get to the point where we do have robot beings, I feel like maybe it's not going to be an issue. Like, because obviously Pluto deals with, like, you know, it deals with robots and discrimination in more, you know, serious ways. I'm pretty sure, Titania, I just spell it Kibo with no numbers in it and dashes, because I just trying to write in a concise and quick way. So I'll just write it like, I might include the U at the end, like just the word hope, but I use all letters, no numbers, so.
Also, hi, Shark, welcome.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I didn't say hi. I'm sorry, hi, Shark.
Like, we're not too far from the body discovery stuff, right?
Yeah, and then, I mean, are you good to do the full body discovery, or,
Yeah.
Okay, cool, just making sure.
I just don't remember, like, where we are in the...
Yeah, because it's literally, we're, like, probably within, like, 10 minutes of it, because it's like, we get it happens immediately after, right? I'm pretty sure, because we already gotten 5, free times, so I feel like there's no, and we've gotten the Fukawa Togami bit, we got the boy bromance bit, so it's like I feel like there's just nothing left in the daily life. So
Monokuma's Japanese voice is so iconic.
I agree.
I do think it's interesting how they localize that, where like it's more of like a Mickey Mouse impression.
Yeah.
In English.
I haven't. What little I've heard, I can't say I'm super into. I am curious about one day going through the dub just to have a full opinion on it.
Well, kind of an unfortunate thing about, like, if you wanted to go through all of Danganronpa dubbed, is that, like, you know, like when you go to Danganronpa 3, there's not like a consistency in who's voicing who, outside of maybe a few characters.
How do you mean?
Well, because like in I don't think the same people who voice, like, the cast of Danganronpa 1, for example, are all the same voice actor, the same, like, vocal talent in the anime.
Oh, that's what you. Oh, I thought you meant V3. I'm sorry. No, you're. I think it was even brought up on a stream that like there's voice actors in V3 who are voice actors in Danganronpa 3, but they're not voicing their characters. So you have weird stuff like that, basically. So okay, no, that makes sense. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay, never mind. I got mixed up because I was thinking because there's at the end of V3 you have like everyone comes in to voice their characters, right? Like, or because you have all the characters being voiced. So I thought you were like, oh wait, no, yeah, but okay, never mind. I just misunderstood you. Cause,
I think it might just be a like disconnect in. I don't know if continuity is the word, but like whoever does the games and whoever does the anime are like
I'm pretty sure
not
that
the same.
But what I was gonna say is because I think like because I think some people say like, oh, Monokuma was supposed to be annoying on purpose, and my take on that is like, I mean, I guess it kind of depends because it's like, do you find it personally annoying? Because like, I remember Tom Kenny, like with SpongeBob, like that's kind of been my dream casting for like, if I had the choice to say who would voice Monokuma in English, it would be Tom Kenny because I think he's a really good voice actor, and he's obviously SpongeBob is just his most notable role, but like, because I think he got the voice because he heard someone with that voice and he imitated it and people thought it was funny, so it's like, hey, and that they ended up doing that voice for a very long running cartoon show. But I can see how people might think of SpongeBob's voice as annoying, but I don't, if that makes sense. So I just don't like saying like, oh, Monokuma is supposed to sound annoying. Especially because, like, to use a like the analog I use is like, I don't think people find Doraemon's voice annoying because it's like he's literally this iconic fucking anime character, right? So sort of like how I don't find SpongeBob's voice annoying. So I don't know. It's just something I thought about regarding Monokuma's voice. But again, I haven't listened to the English in full, so I don't really have a full scope of Monokuma's English voice.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't have ever thought of that. I'm not enough in the Danganronpa sphere to. But it's like with you've like Danganronpa's been a part of your life for years and years.
Over 11 years or 10 and a half years, I'm pretty sure, because I got into it summer 2013. So. Or before that, actually, yeah, or maybe, I don't know. I have to look at when the anime aired. Does that mean Squidward voiced Juko? I mean, the voice actors, I love the clip of the SpongeBob voice actors dubbing over classic movies like Casablanca and Gone with the Wind, where they only pick like one scene from each, but they just redub them, and there's 4 characters in each one, and but they just do their SpongeBob character voices. It's so it's so funny, it's so good. So I'm just imagining just like just doing that, but with the scene from like Danganronpa 3 that has Juko in it, and Squidward's voicing Juko. And I'm imagining all this because I like the anime, but it's like SpongeBob saying it instead. It's just, how to make something funnier. Get SpongeBob characters to voice it. It's a recipe for comedy. Oh my god.
That kind of reminds me of like how with like the Team 4-star like DBZA, like some people at conventions would go up to like the real English voice actors and be like, say the line.
Yes. That's right, because so my friend Johannes, he showed me a clip from the Dragon Ball Kai English dub. Because there's the one part in the cell, where they do like the Mr. Satan's retelling of the Cell yes,
arc.
the sort of tokusatsu production, like, oh, this is what happened when Cell was defeated by Mr. Satan. But they had the Team 4-star voice actors do the fake the costumed versions of the main characters. And but what he told me is apparently because so you have Sean Schemmel, like Goku's voice actor, saying, "Wow, that was good" or whatever. And apparently the actual voice actor has a disdain for the abridged series, so it's just like really like fucking.
I don't know about any other voice actor, but I know I've heard about Sean Schemmel being like, or however you're supposed to pronounce the name.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm so happy that scene exists, even if it's like legally they could not like actually like have that on the episode that they're gonna like release to people and like sell.
Yeah, no, it's okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, I just saw the clip. I guess I assumed it was from the actual dub, but yeah, that's
well, I don't know the full story. Like if maybe it aired on Toonami, but then
they changed
they
it
had to remove it, or if maybe it was like something they were planning to do but couldn't. Like I'm not sure. It is interesting though, because like the Team 4-Star voices, like they're not all like, some of them are doing the characters that they actually voice in the abridged. But then you have like the only one I remember is like you have Takahata doing like his Nappa voice, but like as the knockoff Mr. Satan. And it's just interesting to see these people play like other characters.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't remember the clip well enough to. Okay, interesting. I have my Danganronpa knowledge, but you have the Dragon Ball knowledge and the Dragon Ball abridged knowledge.
And it's like all the dialogue is also like inside jokes about the abridged. So it's like if you don't know the like I put. Like what Danganronpa is to you, probably like Dragon Ball Z abridged could be for me.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
One of the few YouTube channels that like Team 4-Star is just like one of the few YouTube channels from like very early 2010s, like my childhood, where I still follow what they do. At least on like a semi-consistent basis.
I don't. Did you do a video on the Dragon Ball abridged, or? Because I know you've done some YouTube videos on YouTube.
I did the SAO abridged.
I knew that. I was gonna bring it up, but you did it yourself, so that's on you. But
I'm gonna have to rewatch it for the live streams I want to do.
Because I remember we talked about it, but I don't remember if. But there was no video. Okay.
No, I think I might have had the idea to do one at one point, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because it would have been in 2017 and it wouldn't have been
2017 Mathwiz probably shouldn't have been making analysis videos, but I'm saying the same about 2017 Crafts Tour. No, I'm kidding. We had to make those videos to become the people we were now. So,
The funny thing about that video is just, a lot of the comments I get on it are like, why didn't you mention I did mention Team 4-Star, but it's like, people saying like, no, this isn't the best abridged of all time. This one is, or just quoting the series, and it's like, no, it blew up because like something witty, like someone showed it to them and they linked it on their Facebook page, I think. But like, even without that, it's like such an engagement bait video looking back on it that it's just like, not even intentionally, just that like if you talk about a subject like that, people are just gonna like quote things and stuff.
No, because I feel like that's so, I don't know, because with humor in general, I feel like a lot of the way sort of cultures, like I remember there was an old XKCD, which is a webcomic, there was one of the early ones that he did where it's like, sort of criticizing how like whenever Monty Python and the Holy Grail would come up, people would just quote from the movie, like, the knights who say me, haha. And he made a joke about that where part of it's like, well, part of the appeal of Monty Python is unexpected humor. So he responds, like in the comics, some people are quoting Monty Python and he just does an unexpected joke where like, oh God, like something about a car accident or something that's like shocking. And, because it is just like, a lot, like, you getting a lot of quotes in your video. It's like, there's just that's a way people remember the funny thing by quoting the funny thing, but it's certainly like you're at least discussing it and trying to say something interesting about it, right? But like that's also not like, I don't know, it's how do you, I don't know, I guess like I don't know what I'm talking, I'm just thinking aloud, I guess, and just how because it is kind of annoying because it's like you know, you're talking about the thing that you think is if you're talking about the thing you think is funny, you're just quoting it. It's not really a discussion, is it? It's like, hey, I remember that thing too, and I thought it was funny. You know, like that's fine. But
I think something else that can kind of apply too is like, I make AMVs occasionally, and when I post them, like, I you know, there's part of me that's like, oh, I want to know what people say about this, and did they like my editing? What kind of feedback would they give? But most of the time, it's just like, yo, this was cool, and I'm like, I mean, that's thank you, but it's also like, there's a little bit of like, damn, because it's just not the kind of content that would get that kind of engagement.
Yeah, no, it's stuff. I feel like I imagine because most of my engagement with AMVs is because I've been watching a lot of Caribou-kun videos, and he'll literally just like open or just put an AMV in the video, like his fucking Leiji video. If you didn't see it, his most recent one that came out like the other day, is literally it's like half brief essay talking about Tomino's works and getting into them and stuff, and half really fucking cool AMV, you know. But on his on Attitude Digest, he'll actually watch and just react to AMVs, and he talked about one of yours. Because I think you did a Naruto one recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and because he realized like, yeah, he doesn't really have that much substantial to say just talking about it like he does other videos that he'll talk about on Attitude Digest. But if he watches them, he could be like, whoa, how did you do that? Or whatever, you know, like.
Yeah, like even seeing, like not it doesn't even have to be comprehensive feedback, just like even getting like you know, from a live reaction, it's like, oh, I like that part, so it's like
exactly
cool.
The specificity that you don't get from a comment that just says this whole thing was good, right? Like you don't really know what single parts unless they highlight them, right? So yeah.
Dwarf, Super Eye Patch Wolf made me defend Fairy Tail.
She's doing the thing. I mean, like, yeah, no,
Fairy Tail.
Why Fairy Tail? See, that was synced up for me, but it probably wasn't synced up for chat. Maybe it was. I definitely wasn't synced up for you. See, it's cheating. I already know where the fucking body is. Did you actually have to go around and like? I guess yeah, you would have just like stumbling around like, where's the body? I don't know where the body is.
I think at this point it's kind of like a given that it's going to be on the second floor somewhere.
Right, and then at that point it's like, well, there's only two options, aren't there?
The other thing is also like, because I was streaming with someone else, they weren't going to let me like waste too much time, like being lost. So it's like having someone to just point in the right direction. Time for sadness. I think, because you've been skipping the free times, but I think one of the more memorable ones for me in this game is the first Chihiro free time, because like there's a mention of like Chihiro has like a bump like on their hand, and Makoto calls it out. Yeah, and it's like, well, a mosquito bit me, but I didn't want to kill it because like it's just trying to live, and it's like, oh, you poor thing.
Chihira's so precious. Yeah, I love that one. And earlier I was also no, and this was one of the like, just like gruesome one. Just the expression on the face is like no.
It also doesn't help that I'm adept at getting lost. Well, yeah, I mean,
I can't speak. I just remember one of the Monster Hunter streams I did with Vindy. I literally, like, we were talking, and we were supposed to be hunting a monster, and I was just, like, kind of, like, walking in circles because I was stuck at a part of the map, and I couldn't figure out how to get out, and someone was, like, you know, Zoro level sense of direction, and I was like, well, fuck, I can't deny it, can I? It was bad.
At least, like, I think you're pretty solid at the mini-games not mini-games, the gameplay part.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you play on the highest difficulty. I remember.
Yes, the only part I struggled with was the rhythm parts without upgrades. Yeah, so because
the rhythm game is evil. But like, yeah, I think one of the funniest parts of my streams was anytime Logic Dive would come up in the second game. And like,
that's the Tony Hawk's Pro Murder one, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I just continuously was uncoordinated and fell a lot, and it's just like there's even like a clip where I'm like,
I think it's playing in my head right now.
I'm like going as slow as possible, and I'm taking this in baby mode, and then I immediately ate shit, and
it was all for naught.
At least it was good content.
I mean, maybe the shoe will be on the other foot, because I've talked about it before. I might have mentioned it to you as well, but for anyone, so, because I've been thinking, because I was going to play the entire game, but what happened is, like, a lot, like you even pointed out earlier, like, a lot of the dialogue is so straightforward that, like, on the replay, there's not a lot, like, it's hard for me to just talk about the game for as long as I'm playing it, because so much of the experience is built around the first time through, right? So I had the idea of playing, World's End Club and Detective Archives Rain Code, because those are Kazutaka Kodaka games I have not played. And then if those go well, because my concern is obviously people just coming in to spoil shit. But because like in your case, I mean, did you have people just randomly coming onto your Twitch to deliberately spoil you? Did you run into that as a problem?
I don't remember anything like that, but also I wasn't very good at promoting my Twitch, so I didn't have many viewers. But like, I don't know if it also helped that because I was streaming with someone else and there were like 2 separate chats, people could go to Rand's chat and talk about spoilers there.
Yes, I remember that, because I was going to bring that up if you didn't, because it's like, yeah, you had a spoiler chat and a non-spoiler chat, so you had, which is, so you had like just Rand's chat, being able to respond to like you saying Chuko's the mastermind. It's like, she's doing it again. Someone has to stop her. She can't keep getting away with it. Just like, where you have your chat. Like, I don't know, just like I always think about the spoiler discussions from like the One Piece, where you're like, oh, this imagery of Ace going out at the end of Empledown is like, that reminds me of Gold Roger, and I'm just like, don't say a fucking word, Dwarf. Don't make a sound. Don't do anything, because we're so close to you just getting it and being like, oh,
that's interesting.
Like, if we were in person, I would have probably spilled the beans there physically, by somehow, or like just. So I'm glad that we were in a different. So because it can be so hard to just not. Because how do you say something that just doesn't spoil it? Because like there's a level at which you feel every reaction could possibly be a spoiler. Basically,
Rand got cheeky with it, because there were times that she would just like outright spoil me, but she would also lie to me about things.
I remember
so
hearing
I could
about
never
that. Yes,
trust any of what she said.
Reading out Asahina's execution. Which doesn't happen, but I think I've seen. I don't know if it's an actual like a concept from the game or if it's a fan thing, but I do remember seeing hypotheticals executions for all the characters. So at some point, but
I think it was just for the first game.
Yes, only the first game, not the other ones. But yeah, so just mixing the truth with the lies, giving you the B3 experience before you even get there. But yeah, basically, so to finish the thought is, okay, they were unofficial unused executions. Thank you. I was like kind of remembering, but it's been a while. But basically, so yeah, if Rain Code and World's End Club go well, and I'm able to like stream those games without having a second chat, and people don't just come out of the woodwork to spoil me, then I might play Ace Attorney as well, because that's also got the same like murder mystery / trial kind of set. Because I always bring up is like. Detective Conan's a cool manga, but it's hard for me to like dedicate energy to like wanting to solve the cases when I could just like wait a couple weeks or like just read the next chapter. Especially when it's revolves around a fucking like language thing or culture bit that like I don't know. So I'm like trying to solve a puzzle. Like even if I dedicate energy to trying to solve this puzzle, I'm missing pieces because I don't understand Japanese or whatnot. So
but when it's a game, it's like inherently
and
more.
they're forcing you to do it too. I can just oh, excuse me. Like I can just keep reading Detective Conan, and I'm not going to miss out on anything except for that personal thrill of solving the mystery. because Conan's just going to go beat by beat and explain every fucking little thing that I missed.
I couldn't tell because of
Sorry.
Discord if you were sneezing or coughing, but bless you, question mark?
Coughing, so excuse me.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate the concern. Because you're like, that's some terrifying sneezing. But yeah, so basically, like, Ace Attorney would be able to scratch an itch that replaying Danganronpa won't, because I'll be and even playing Detective Conan, or reading Detective Conan wouldn't scratch, because, like, I've already solved all these, I know all the answers to all these mysteries. They're not, like, thrilling in that way to me anymore, but I can maybe, but, like, and even, like, Conan, like, reading 100 volumes of Conan was, like, it's a good manga, but there's, like, a level at which, like, because I'm not engaging with it in the way that it maybe wants me to, because, like, I was thinking about it a lot while reading it, of just, like, I'm imagining, like, school kids discussing the manga weekly with their friends and arguing with each other and working with each other to figure out who the murderer is, right? Like, and get all the clues down and be like, oh, it was actually this character, you know, like, that's there's like a social aspect to that with Conan that I didn't engage myself with. So I just feel like, you know, playing Raincode or Ace Attorney would give me that aspect of, like, figuring out for myself that I don't have the mental energy or desire to do with Conan, and obviously can't get with Danganronpa anymore because I played it so many times. You know, so even just playing it once is like, yeah, you gotta, what are you gonna do? So yeah, I just wanted to share while we're talking about, like, the gameplay and stuff. There it is.
But yeah, no, that definitely sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah.
I have no experience with any of those games.
Yeah, no, hopefully they're good. Well, because they literally just released the second trilogy collection on Steam. So there are 2 spin-off titles that aren't available in English, but everything else is available on Steam. So I have that as an option. And because I've also thought about streaming visual novels, like I really like Muv-Love, but they're just visual novels and it's just reading, so I don't know how interesting that would be to go through. Where at mysteries at least have more of a like that engagement element of just, like, understanding what's going on. So
I guess
going
it's
through
like,
the journey, if that makes sense, of understanding. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Well, like, I guess in that situation, kind of the only way you can really recapture some level of that, like, appreciating the unknown, like, mystery part of it is just, like, watching someone else go through it for the first time.
Exactly, getting the vicarious experience, exactly. Which is hard. I mean, like, so that, like, to do Danganronpa, I'd have to, like, grab Vindy and force him to stream, like, Danganronpa 2 and P3, basically, because none has already gone through the whole. I don't think he's played every single game. Maybe he has now, but you know, if you watch the Let's Play, you still know what happens. So you know, yeah.
But if you get the Danganronpa memory wipe, then you can play Danganronpa
There we
again
fucking
and
go.
again
We just
and
need a memory
again.
flashlight. Just grab one of those and just boop. Fucking just wipe our brains, and I could play Danganronpa for the first time again and again and again. I could read One Piece for the first time again. Holy shit! I need one of these right now.
I don't know if I don't think the you know, the gender part of this happens until the trial.
No, it does. They come back to the this room for the reveal.
I think something about this that's also kind of funny because the chapter and the murder are so, like, heavily couched in, like, the gender binary and the distinction between the two. Like, you know, the posters on the wall, it's like, oh, women wouldn't be into other women, guys wouldn't be into other guys.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, I don't think that it's, like, you know, meant to say anything. I think it's just funny, like, traditional stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Danganronpa is peak when it comes to the experience of watching someone else play it for the first time. I think I've made 3 of my friends play while I watch.
Nice.
I've tried to do that, but it just hasn't worked out. I think with Bree, I just ended up showing her my live stream highlights.
Yeah, I think Brie also just doesn't like Danganronpa, so
Yeah, her favorite is Danganronpa S.
Yeah.
Which is because she likes the RPG aspects of it.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, Danganronpa S is like, you know, I think it could appeal to a certain kind of person, like a Bree, you know, who just likes the RPG part. But like, there are things that are interesting about it. It's kind of like taking the free times. Well, I mean, I guess that's what Taldev was too, and that's why this game is what it is. But like, I could see why people who, you know, are fans of the main games see that one and are like, this is just a cash grab, I don't care.
Was it it wasn't a full $60 game. No, it was like an add-on to the collection, right? Like I think it's like you could buy. I bought it separately for like
$20 or something.
Yeah, that's not too bad because it was like there was like a trilogy collection on Switch, right? And that included Danganronpa S as like an extra, I think, right?
Yeah, okay, I believe so.
Yeah, I've seen worse cash grabs.
Yeah, like I think the thing when it comes to games like that, you know, because like, does it have the content I'd be looking for in a $60 game? No, but like for it being like a third of the price, I feel like it's fine for what it is.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of had an experience with that with like a wrestling game recently that I got burned on. Because like, you know, WWE is the main company, and now there's like AEW, which is like an alternative. And they released their first video game, and it was a full-priced game, and it just has no replayability. It's very bare bones.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, that was a waste of my money. But it's like, if it was like a $10 or $20 game, then it's like my expectations would be different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because yeah, it's like, especially now with Steam sales and stuff where you can in theory get games like you know, because like I'm not a person, I literally don't think I still haven't played a game that came out in 2023. No, I briefly played Pokemon Sleep, excuse me. And then I played DLC for some stuff, like I played the Indigo Disc Pokemon DLC and the Teal Mask. So it's like I played video game content that was released in 2023, but I don't care to keep up with releases at all, basically, because like that's the other thing. It's like a lot of people want to keep up with be a part of the conversation, and that means like, yeah, like playing the newest thing. Like I was thinking about that with I guess I was thinking of sports games, because those infamously kind of have like new versions every year. But like part of the reason people do that is because they want the players that are going to be playing that for that year, right, in their game, right? So I don't know. I was just thinking. My brain was going places, not necessarily meaningful places, but yeah.
I feel like even just going on kind of an unrelated tangent is still, you know, easier to get through the game than just kind of like, I don't know what to say here.
Yeah, no, I remember Northern Lion, I think, because he streams himself playing video games, and he made a joke about Final Fantasy 14, literally making up a guy of people who think it's difficult when the difficulty is just like dodging area of effect attacks on the ground, basically. And it blew up on Twitter and stuff, and he later said something like, you know, sometimes you just say shit to get chat going so you have something to talk about for the foreseeable future, basically, right? I'm just, you know, and I just thought it was interesting, like, wait, because it was a funny clip on its own, but like knowing just like you just need things to talk about on the stream. When it's because like I watched Northern Lion way back when he first got into Binding of Isaac, and I kept up with him for quite a while, and he's basically like, since like he's continued to just continually play and stream of himself playing video game content and talking over it. Like the Binding of Isaac, what got interesting because he eventually got so good at the game, and he'd been playing it for so long that he just do an entire 40-minute, hour-long playthrough of Binding of Isaac, and he wouldn't talk about the game at all because nothing new or interesting was happening at all. He was just talking about whatever the fuck was like happening with him lately, and he could keep going for like it was insane. Like think about it, it's just like, oh my god, that's an amazing skill to have because I just do not have that. So
almost more like a podcast, but
basically,
over a game.
yeah. And there was a game, like, yeah, because I just remember there being some comments like, yeah, I don't think he talked about the game once this time, but sometimes he'd react to something, or like there was one where he reacted to his his first playthrough of the game and be like, no, there's a Tetris rock right there, blow it up, like just being like remark, yeah, but just interesting. There's different skills that streamers have and stuff.
Yeah, like I would think after like I've been doing this stuff for like over a decade now, and like I would think after years and years of doing like the old gameplay commentary videos that I could just talk off the cuff like constantly and it wouldn't be an issue, but
it's hard.
I never lost the awkwardness. Maybe it'd be easier if I was more of a narcissist. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or maybe narcissist is a harsh way to put it. Just someone who likes hearing myself talk.
Oh, yeah. No, I was thinking of something different. With basically more because like I definitely think. I don't know. It's always interesting when I like click on a viral tweet on Twitter or a tweet that's blowing up, and like usually the first response is them responding to the fact that it blew up and they're advertising something of theirs. And I was just thinking about how like because we're YouTubers, we're already kind of public faces in a sense, right? Like we're used to having attention because I've always thought like, well, if I ever got a tweet that blew up, like I do have like one tweet that has like 700 likes or something like that, and like I don't know, I didn't feel a need to self-promote there because it's like. Whatever, like I don't know. It's just and just like I don't know. People don't get that experience of having any amount of fame. I think I just remember I was talking about that with a friend of mine, and he pointed out there was a conversation between Obama and Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld, and I thought it was interesting because it's like Obama said he kind of missed. Because he's world famous, like he could go to any country and people would recognize him, right? He was literally the president of the United States, and he kind of misses the anonymity of like just being able to go places and just be a guy, basically. Where Seinfeld didn't agree at all. He likes being famous. He liked being recognized, And my friend's takeaway that is like you kind of have to be somewhat narcissistic to enjoy fame, maybe, because I kind of I'm not a fan necessarily, but I don't know. That's completely unrelated. You just said narcissism, and I just thought about that. So.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I tend to carry myself very honestly, and like that's reflected in my content. Or like I've talked about my anxieties a lot on there, so it's like. As I'm trying to like work through some of those mental health issues and have a little more self-worth, it's like, well, it's like it would be good to hype myself up, but it's like I don't want to come across as like it's like that was the one thing keeping the ego in check was the self-loathing.
Yeah, relatable. Could skip it like I did last time, but I'm not in a rush because I'm still talking with Mathwiz. I don't know what we're going to talk about while we wait for the investigation. It's like, not that much to say about the investigation, I feel, because again, it's very much, it's honestly probably the most extreme example of like, it's there for your first time through the game, right? Where you're holding on to every word and being like, well, why is this going to be important? Because every single bullet is going to be important, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not like everyone, but most of them.
I remember it being. I just remember most like the one in Danganronpa Chapter 1, or Danganronpa 2 Chapter 1 rather, where it's like the embarrassing Mikan pose, and it's just like, how the fuck is this a truth bullet? How's that gonna factor in?
And then it happens, and you're like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just like.
Trying to think about that cards section, those ebooks. how Junko and Mukuro's tie into it?
Because yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, that's right. No, I don't know. I was just trying to think about the rule that was at it, but yeah. Nope, I don't know. I started to think about it too, but I don't know where to go with it. So.
Something about characters having multiple sides, and Junko is also one of those.
She's got like 8 sides. Damn. And they're all a bitch.
I'm still curious about reading. Is it Danganronpa If? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
one
the
by
Mukuro. Yes.
Yeah, and it's written by the, I don't remember his name, but
Is
the
it-
guy who does like Bakano and Durarara
Yes, I believe you're correct.
momentarily.
'Cause yeah, it's definitely one of the more neat. I mean, it's the best Mukuro's character ever gets. Let's be real. So, and if you're
Ryogo Narita.
thank you. I was like, isn't that? I could hold on.
I think he's also written. Is it Fate Strange Fake?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's right.
Because I just checked my. He also did Bleach Can't Fear Your Own World, which I've had on my shelf for years. So they're just like. I just rolled over to check my volumes, and I was like, yep, there's his name right next to Tight Kubo's on the cover, on the spine. So yes.
Stuff like that is really interesting. I remember Bloom Into You has something similar where the Sayaka novels are written by, I think it's the person who does Adachi and Shimamura.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like interesting seeing these characters from someone else's perspective. It kind of, maybe there's sort of like a similar appeal to what I see in like shonen movies at this point, because it's like someone else getting their hands on a story and telling it from like, you know, with their own twist and their own perspective.
Wasn't it? Oh wait, was it by? Hold on, who wrote? No, hold on. I think there's a JoJo novel. There's a few JoJo novels. I think was it? Well, because I mean my first exposure to Nisio Isin was actually the what's it called? The Death Note novel, the Beyond Birthday Murder Cases.
Right, yeah.
Because like that, I remember liking it and thinking it was interesting, but that was obviously well before I touched Monogatari or Medaka Box or any of those other works that I've gone through. But I also remember because there's a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure novel called Over Heaven that I just checked, and yeah, it's also written by Nisio Isin, and it's basically like it offers a couple of interesting ways to think about Dio's character. I know you don't have a lot of JoJo experience, but I know you at least are aware of Dio to some degree.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I just remember thinking it was pretty interesting, and it's like it very much ties into what you're thinking about. Like, here's how this author sees this character, and he like ties some interesting threads together regarding like his motivation and certain perspectives of his that you can still apply to the original work, but you know are definitely more like subtle or not brought up as much, but in a way, but like it's just interesting to see like this is how he reads his character and what he gets out of him, and I just remember reading it and finding it interesting. Yeah.
I'm also just like interested to learn about Bukuro as a character, because Danganronpa 3 does not
no
it's could have been more there. The direction they went in was not my cup of tea.
I think Danganronpa 0 maybe is slightly better with Mukuro, but not, you know, it's still very, but like at least she has a line about how she's the one who understands Junko the most, and she feels like she's the most important one in Junko's life, basically explaining why she cares so much about Junko and why she's so faithful and loyal to her. Even though obviously we know that no, Junko doesn't give a shit about her at all, right? So
yeah.
Just that sort of, there's that irony there. Oh, god damn it. I hate the reactions so much, they're so stupid.
Yeah.
I'm like looking around like, wait, did I have to click on something else? It's like, no, there was a second react behind the first react, you idiot, you loser, you trash. And I'm just like, okay, never mind.
It's just picturing two people having a conversation and someone says something and it's like, wait a minute, Say that again. Can you start from the beginning again? Can you start from the beginning again? Can you start from the beginning again?
Oh, what is this? Legend of Zelda? That fucking owl, I swear to God. I don't know if you play Zelda games, so I don't know if you understood that reference.
No, but it did make me think of the guy from Animal Crossing, where like if you don't save your game, he yells at you.
So that's one in Zelda. Basically, what happens is the owl will like give you a when you leave the forest in Ocarina of Time for the first time. The owl explains a bunch of stuff to you, and he says, "Would you like to hear that again?" And if you're just mashing A, you're gonna hit yes, and then he'll just go, "Okay, I'll just tell you everything again." And it's like, fuck. So you just end up in a loop until you actually like remember to hit the right button this time. Can you say that again? Can you say that's like basically linked to the owl? Basically, is what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
I'm just like because the whole. Also interesting. I forgot the game just teleports you around this time because normally I feel like I have to walk. Yeah. Wait, where are we going? Hold on. I'm so not paying attention to the game at all.
You waste of space. Damn.
I didn't. I thought I. It's Toko's room. Oh, doorbell. God, that's so dumb. Holy shit.
Oh, wait.
No, wait, what?
Is there someone else with you?
Oh my god. This fucking game. I swear to God.
Yakuya doesn't really give you any hints. He's just like, you're talking to the wrong person, idiot.
And I turn around and Asune is there. I thought it was. Now I'm supposed to talk to the door, motherfucker. That's why I thought that the doorbell. Because I wait, was I supposed to tap on the doorbell? Because I remember the doorbell sound. Nope. Oh my god.
You know, I didn't remember it very well, and I'm like, is the doorbell a separate selectable object?
Could have been.
とりあえず一度ドアを開けてくれない？好きにさせない。
Oh yeah, Komana. Is Fate Strange Fake? Is that a like? Is it a visual novel? Is it a novel? Like, what is it? Because I'm not a Fate guy. I'm just curious because I think it's interesting that you translate stuff. Because like I'm too light novel. Okay, I just have I tried to learn Japanese a few years ago and I couldn't stick. Well, because it's like I was doing school at the time, community college. And I also started getting into YouTube, and when I was trying to decide, like, okay, well, I can't do all of these things. I just don't have enough time and mental energy to do all these three things. So I ended up cutting Japanese out of it. I still am glad that I tried because I've gotten some things out of that attempt to learn Japanese. Even if I'm definitely like I used to be able to read various hiragana and katakana. Like I remember I was playing Monster Hunter and we had a Japanese message maybe the person's name was just in Japanese characters and I was like, oh, arigato, and my friend was like, what? How you could read that? And I was like, yeah. But I'm definitely rusty about it now. Like it's a struggle for me. Even though it used to be less of a struggle, just because I'm not trying. But yeah. That's cool. I honestly, it could have been really bad because earlier, I don't know. So, because Shaves in his why you should buy anime video talks about like fan subbing and or just like contributing to something that you care about and why like and I literally he was like, hey, Agasub is really easy to download. You could literally like fan translate your own anime or fan translate anime. Oh right. And I remember just like. Because I've had the thought of contributing to it, but it's like I don't understand Japanese, so I'd only be able to do like quality checking or typesetting for manga or something. But I've had the thought. I just never like reached out to anyone and been like, hey, I want to help translate something without knowing how to translate. Like I just feel like that's I don't know. Maybe it's helpful, but obviously it's like there's a level at which I'd want to be doing something that's either like interesting. Or something I like, or like connected to something I like, or like I'd wanted there to be some kind of value. Like, but basically the reason is because I found there was a website that had Japanese subtitles of stuff for the idea being for people to help who are learning Japanese to use the Japanese subtitles to get a visual like representation of what they're hearing, so attach the sound to the word better. And I remember I found Japanese subtitles for a weird show that not a live action show that actually didn't have English fan subs. And I was thinking, like, do I literally like use like machine translation to like figure out like and my own like writing ability to like take these Japanese subs and turn them into an actual like subtitled show? But the show's like a sequel. I couldn't actually find raw footage of the show. Like, I literally have 2 torrents partly downloaded for the first 2 seasons. Well, the first season is fan subbed actually, and the second one isn't. And it's like it's also just the show does not look interesting to me. It's like a kind of ecchi thing, and it's just like really just like I don't know. But it's like yeah. So I don't know. I'm just randomly talking about me. Potentially, I don't know. My other thing is like I'm trying to spend more time this year. Because I think I was talking to you about it, but I want to finish my Hunter x Hunter fanfic. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year, but I want to be able to dedicate more time to writing it because I want to finish it. And that's like where I want to put even though I still want to do videos and stuff, but you know, I just like the idea of contributing to something as a translation project appeals to me because I just think of like how many, as someone who does like anime videos, there's like fucking Minky Momo, one of the most important magical girl works, right? It's still like it's not subtitled, right? There's so many how many historical manga do we have that just we can't read, right? Like there's an idea of just like I don't know, contributing to the community in that way, and like, you know, Stein says it's a thankless job, and I don't know. I was just thinking about it since we have a translator here, so yeah, I respect the work, you know. Especially because, like, one thing I'm really glad that you know, we don't really have, like, obviously there's money involved in fan translation, like with manga sites having ads and stuff. Oh right, back room. But like, generally people just do it because they're interested in and they like it and they care and they just want to, boom, you know, have it out there and just translate it and just release it for free for people to enjoy, and I like that. So yeah.
I think this is the part where Byakuya says some kind of sketchy shit about there being like a secret cabal, and it's like
Illuminati type, like the world is ruled by people who, and he's part of it. So
people have 2 wolves. One is called George R.R. Martin, the other is called Stephen King. I don't understand, but it's funny.
I'm trying. I'm just thinking about quotes about writing, but I'm probably misattributing them, so I'll just assume that I also don't know what's being talked about. Yeah, there it is. The people who control the world from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Also a major plot point in the science adventure franchise. One thing they actually don't talk about in the anime for Steins Gate is that CERN is controlled by the Committee of 300, which is the that setting's secret council that rules everything. They're the main antagonists, though, instead of like a side, like basically a joke, honestly. Like Togami being like, "Hey, if you look into this stuff, you're gonna get killed, buddy." Yeah.
I did see a comment further up. Sneak peek or world premiere on your thoughts on Chihiro. I think I kind of already said it earlier, but I guess if I can try and give like the abridged version. You know, the story of the game is a really interesting like narrative of like toxic masculinity, and I think the ways that Mondo and Chihiro contrast each other are interesting, and there's a lot of like little details in there I really appreciate. But yeah, it's also couched in like an aesthetic of trans panic, and that's no good.
Oh, Also, to respond sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna respond to Shark and say, I don't remember the mention of Committee of 300 in Steins Gate. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I do remember that in general they kind of tone in. I feel like in Steins Gate they do it, and I also remember it happening in Robotics Notes, which is really awkward. But basically, because Robotics Notes are the titles that I feel like cross over with the rest of the franchise the most, instead of just referencing it. But they tend to, I feel like in the anime adaptations, they tend to tone down the crossover elements to a degree, because like there's so much, there's like, and I think that like for Steins Gate, I think a big part of its popularity is because like you can just watch it. It's not important that it's a sequel to Chaos Head, right? It's really not when you think about it, and it references it in some big ways, especially in the visual novel. Like to bring up the big one that I remember is the in Chaos Head, there's some really important like extension cable. What? Hold on. Okay, it is light. In Chaos Head, there's basically like there's some American scientists who came up with some technology regarding the human mind, and and it turns out that Kurisu was on that team. Like that's why she's in America. She went to college in America, and she's able to make the time leap machine because it literally relates to the same sci-fi stuff used in Chaos Head with the psychic powers and the science that revolves around that. So that's an example of it, like because they mentioned like the parts about that are relevant to Kurisu, but they don't bring up the parts that relate to Chaos Head. So they kind of cut back on their references in that way. So yeah, which I think it fits more as like, again, you can just watch Steins Gate and just enjoy it, and it's cool. Oh, she didn't make visual rebuilding? Okay, I thought she was. Okay, never mind. I played an old version of the game. Never mind. I just remember that. Yeah, I just made the connection because I thought she worked with that in America, because I remember her being, yeah. I don't know. I thought oh, she is from the universe that made it. Okay, never mind. I'm wrong.
I feel similarly about Persona 4. Are you familiar with it? I started Persona 4. I just have
the discourse characters.
Yeah, I've not made it very far. I'm definitely curious to get to it, because I know that there's a discussion to be had. But I really don't have any context, so.
No, I don't. I feel like I'm aware of it to enough a degree that I almost feel like I can explain it, but I've also, I don't know, I have not experienced it myself, so I just won't until I eventually do play Persona 4 in like 2025, hopefully, maybe.
I could see it being a thing, like if you feel kind of similarly to the Chihiro stuff, if it's like there's an interesting story in there, but it might not be like conveyed in the best way, or might not have considered like certain perspectives, or just something along those lines. Yeah, because like Danganronpa Chapter 2 and the stuff with Chihiro, it's like I do think it's my second favorite chapter, but it's like it's like it's very loaded. It's like the stuff that isn't good is like some of my least favorite material in the game, but it's like the core of like the toxic masculinity narrative, I think, is just like resonates with me so much that it still elevates it, even if it's like, you know, the whole trans/gay panic stuff.
I won't explain the Persona 4 stuff, but you know, because it has been a while since I really like because None and Vindy have both played Persona 4 and they really like it, and so it's probably like, and Twitter, you know, so basically through discourse, and then, you know, maybe some other people I know, but I just feel like I heard enough bits of conversation about it that it's like I kind of get the picture. But again, it's like it's not based on my own experiences with the game, so I'll just withhold my opinion on something I haven't played. which
Persona
seems to be-
4 is a game that I want to get back to streaming because I did play the first little bit of it on stream. I just have to like establish a consistent streaming schedule. I've noticed that for something like streaming, once the routine is there, it's so much easier to keep up with it. But then the second I fall off, like the second I miss one stream, I'm gone.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because no, well, because like what happened with me is I remember when I was doing my dailies, I think I just remember falling off of them for a bit, and I did eventually. I guess I don't know, because like I think how I would solve it is just doing more, because like I had it regimented to the point where it's like, okay, I'm watching episodes 20 and 22 on this day, or 20, 21 and 22 on this day, 23, 24 and 25 on this day, or whatever. And then I just, so when you fall off, it's like, oh god, I have to watch 6 episodes. But it's like, yeah, so you know, I could see that being a case for like, oh, I guess I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
but,
that also happened with me trying to do the daily magical girl stuff last year, where I got like a few solid months in and was doing good. I'd miss a day, but I'd catch up on it. And then, you know, some life stuff popped up and suddenly I was a month behind and I'm like, I can't do this. That's too much.
Yeah. I mean, because my best advice would be like, the next best thing is just restart it basically, but and then just continue as if you'd never stopped, in a sense.
It would be funny because it would be the third time for Persona 4 Golden specifically that I'd be going through initial material, because I did it once. God, I don't remember when, where I made it up to a certain point, and then the issue was that my old computer couldn't run it without crashing. Like, I think it was something about the graphics, where my computer would just die. And then once I got back into streaming, I started doing it and did like 2 or 3. And then something came up and I fell off of streaming. And so it's like, yeah, I could restart it and maybe that's what I'll end up doing. It's just like, take 3.
Yeah, because I know you're quite far along on Persona 3, and you've already finished Persona 5. So it's like, well, it's either play Persona 4 or you go into the uncharted territory with Persona 1 and 2, games no one has ever played in their entire lives.
I got bits and pieces of Persona 1 because I watched someone play it, but I wasn't like actively watching.
Yeah.
How much left of the investigation is there?
We're pretty close to the end. Because, yeah.
I appreciate just how much of a shit Byakuya is, that like he drags you along and then is like, think for yourself.
Yeah, he's just because he's like, he wants someone to notice the hard work he did, but also you know, fall into his trap, and so but he wants to make sure that, you know,
that he gets the credit.
Yeah.
And that manifests very well in chapter 4, where he's just like,
I love that. Yeah, when
he's
he just
so
gets...
smug. Like, I know what happened.
God,
and
it's
then
so
like...
satisfying to just see him just get fucked, idiot. So good.
His character arc is good. Rain short circuits at the concept of homosexuality. Boys band poster in the boys' locker room? That doesn't make sense.
Where else did Maggie want me to go? What do you want?
Danganronpa, I think, also can occasionally have the problem of, like, there are so many potential things to investigate that I feel like at least once you're going to run into the issue of, like, I feel like I've checked all these things. What did I miss? Why can't I leave this room?
Yep. And sure enough, Hifumi did point me to the storage room. Because obviously it's like, well, why would I go to the storage room? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Mathwiz never try Ace Attorney.
だけどそうじゃあ
I do not claim to be good at mysteries. Especially if it's like... The thing with the Danganronpa streams as well was like...
じゃあね
I wasn't just playing the game and trying to figure out the mystery, I was also like streaming, so like needed to keep up a certain level of like energy and be entertaining, so it's like that would partially split my attention. It was just an interesting experience overall. Oh wait, is this it?
No,
Or
it's
is it
not
in the
till the trial.
trial?
It's in the trial because it's a big twist. Remember, so.
Right.
Okay.
Conflicting feelings on Danganronpa characters can be interesting because it's like, you know, Mondo, one of my favorite characters prior to this chapter, and like, you know, the story is interesting and all that stuff, but it's like also killed one of my other favorite characters and did a really bad, and so it's like
I gotcha.
I should dislike you.
Does it want me to go? I thought I did everything. Why did it let me leave if there was more? I don't know. Yeah, it's letting me... Okay. Don't let me leave if there's still more stuff to find. Is it in this room? I'm losing my mind.
You have to talk to Hifumi again?
I already did. Maybe again, yeah. Yeah, he's saying the same things, I think.
Okay.
Because it's not letting me leave out of here.
Is it like one of the card readers?
I thought I already did that, but
Did you click the blood laws?
maybe not.
Are there like testimonies you needed to get? I'm just trying to like run through the list of things I remember.
Because I thought I talked to everybody. Oh, okay. I talked to her earlier, but okay. God damn it. This game. Because I at least like, yeah, I'd rather be stuck in the room and have to look at everything before it lets me leave. Because this time I have free reign of this place, but okay. It's my fault.
Yeah,
I'm the one not paying attention, so.
But yeah, it does kind of give you 3 different areas to examine, all in the one.
We're almost done, though. I'm pretty sure. Oh, let's see. Did Maggie not say he wanted to go back to the Jack case? Or maybe that's supposed to be here. Oh, maybe. Go away. Nope, that's... Nope, okay, never mind.
Is it like, do you have to pull out the Genocide Jack book again?
Yeah, I thought I did, but it didn't do anything. Yeah, I tapped it right. Yeah, I tapped both this and the dust button and it didn't do it. Oh,
and there's like 3 different...
Oh wait, that's the extension cord box. Never mind. I thought that was a Genocide Jack file. Okay, never mind. I'm a fool. Cause yeah. Guess I have to go find Togami again, or yeah, no. Which one was it? Not escape. Oh, F1. That's right. Oh, it still wants me to go to the library. Nah, I'll wait.
Or does it just highlight all of the places you need to
Maybe.
check?
Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay. Keyboards are hard. Annoying. I don't like them.
Just to share my own perspective after watching this happen, it feels like they're so close to making a great trans/queer character that it almost feels like it was intentional but got censored, even if that wasn't the case. And it reminds me of Togashi and his journey trying to have good queer characters.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. Sorry, were you gonna have a thought?
Kind of just about, like, I especially think for a person who, you know, for people who don't have that, or maybe, like, aren't even aware of it, like, I'm just trying to imagine, like, you know, maybe if you, like, tried to write something like that before, you know, you realize that part of yourself, and versus you writing that about that topic now, that'd probably be pretty different, right? But it's more for awareness for people like me who, you know, I don't feel like that's a part of myself, but, like, I think an example, as part of, I went back to my Danganronpa fanfic and wrote an epilogue chapter, and honestly, the biggest part of the reason I did that was, I think, because there was some instances where I talk about, like, you know, homosexuality or female homosexuality primarily, and I remember you talking about the Danganronpa 2 case where this gay baiting, where, you know, it's like, oh, you have the Hiyoko Mahiru stuff, and then, you know, Mahiru fucking dies, right? And it's like, because it's like, you know, and I remember thinking about that. It's like, oh shit, I kind of did that in my fanfic. So part of the reason I wanted to write the epilogue chapter was to actually really go into that aspect with the relevant character, and handle it better, if that makes sense. Because, you know, so yeah, you know, especially when you're considering games that are like, because I don't know the full art, you know, how relevant and talked about it was in Japan, obviously, but, you know, relative to my experience, I feel like it's been such a it's been such a big talking point in the last, like, 5+ years relative to, like, the you know, 5 years before that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of awareness and, you know, changed perspective that I've had, and I've seen a lot of people have had. You know, so but we're talking about stories where Danganronpa came out in 2009. You know, Togashi was writing through, you know, from the 90s to the, you know, now, right? So just, you know, seeing that evolution, and yeah.
I feel like I might have, for the Persona character, I feel like I might have heard about what you're talking about, but I don't want to just say it, and it's like, because I'd be spoiling myself.
Well, because I feel the need to respond, and because I know, because I think because Joe even did a video on Persona 4 recently, and he brings up the two Persona 4 discourse characters, and he just says, oh yes, the discourse characters, 'cause it's like and it's like, yeah, just even though I haven't touched the game, I still had a level of, like, yeah, I know.
I guess to be, is it related to a social link?
Oh, it's not one of the two discourse characters. Okay, never mind. I have no idea. And also, this is the room I was talking about. Like, I didn't know you can come into the sauna.
I didn't know this existed.
Yeah, it's because it's the same place that because, like, Nagi stands in front of the door, but you can just go through the door when Mondo and Ishvar, when they did their thing. So yeah, I just wanted to share, because I was like, can I go into that room? And I was like, yep, you can. Because I was like, oh, do you find the handbook? And it's like, no, that's later on.
Yeah, I feel like I had heard with Persona, like, that, you know, like with the social links, it's usually like the main character talking to the female characters, and it's like at the end of it leads to, like, a romance option. I thought what I had heard, and I don't know if this is the same thing that's being talked about, but that there was a male character who also had or could have had that kind of social link, but it just didn't end up happening.
Okay, and then Muro just said something that's like, oh, all right, I can see where this is going.
I couldn't remember if what I had heard was, like, a rumor or, like, confirmed. Yeah, the line there of like, didn't hang out with the other girls.
Yeah.
Chihiro's not like other girls.
Uh-oh. Used to guys spoiling her. God. I mean, Chihiro's hella cute, so you know. Actually, I don't think you got far enough in Hidamari's sketch, but that kind of reminds me of Nazuna, who she kind of she's introduced in season 3, and it kind of talks about how like she's a kind of cute person, you know, who guys kind of like, and that kind of gets her, so the other girls don't like her for that reason, and they kind of bring it up briefly, but obviously at the apartments she's perfectly fine with hanging out with the other girls, but I don't know, it's just interesting where it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of, yeah, I recognize that thing from something else. Also, I thought it was funny to Tanya where you're like, oh my, because or what did she say? Wow, you can enter here? I didn't know. When earlier she made a joke about me, like, wow, you can open this door? And it's like, Tanya, that was the door I was talking about. No, it's not. She was, yeah. See, I didn't. That's what I was telling you. It's like you don't know. It's like I played this game how many times and I never went to that room. So, yeah. But yeah, I forgot to go into the fucking dining hall and talk to Asahina. How could I forget? Silly me. Okay, now it's okay. That Tanya, I'm sorry. I don't get your jokes immediately.
Some jokes are like hard to pick up on through text. Like, I feel like especially if you have a kind of like sense of humor that can be kind of mean, where it's like two people like bantering with each other. If you try to do that over text, it can look like, oh, did I just piss this person off?
Yeah, right. And yeah, for sure. Hold on. No, I'd have to dig it up. I remember my friend sent me a meme that was kind of related to like, you know, being mean to friends, and it's like, haha, I'm making a joke. And it's like, oh, they're joking about being hurt, but then the response to that is like, oh God, I'm sorry I hurt you, like a genuine like, like I hurt friend, just like, you know. Because it's like, you know, you want to joke around with your friends, but you don't want to genuinely hurt them, even though. But they're joking about being hurt, so they're just playing along. But it's like, no, just interesting. Interesting. That's it. Okay, we're done. Yay!
We did it!
We made it. So we have one more, but it's not gonna be next week. I'll just leave it on this screen while we talk. So, because if you want, do you want to talk about what you're doing next week and why we can't? Well, I'll be streaming next week anyway. It just won't be Danganronpa. So what do you? Or maybe it will. Maybe I'll just react to my Danganronpa video or my 3 Danganronpa videos that I still need to watch.
You could.
So, but what are you gonna be doing?
Yeah, I posted a little announcement video on my channel a bit ago. I am gonna be doing Monday to Friday. I'm gonna be watching all of my old videos, and well, all is like with an asterisk because like I'm not gonna. Anyway, I'll talk about that in the streams. But yeah, I'm gonna go through all my videos, and gonna be a lot of hours, I think. But yeah, so that's why I can't be here next week for the trial.
Yes. So yeah, so to that end, so yeah, next week I'll probably I'll still stream on Wednesday or whenever I can, and do the, you know, I'll rewatching some of my videos probably because I might, I don't know how I'm gonna, because my thing with the streams right now is like, I guess, you know, like with Danganronpa, it's like I had a goal. I'm gonna play through the whole game, and I'm not gonna finish that. But so I don't know if, but I have the talking about my old video ideas and rewatching my old videos. So I only have 2 more of the rewatching videos to do, streams to do. So once that's over, and I don't know what I'm gonna stream after I finish going through my old video ideas. So I don't know if I want to do it where I'm like jumping between things, or if I just do one like straight shot and I'm just streaming the same thing for weeks on end. I don't know. Oh, Titania, no, I've not published my Hunter x Hunter fanfic. I did the same thing when I did my Danganronpa fanfic, except for one of them where there was a whole long section. But basically, I try to have the whole thing finished before I start publishing, because I know part of the appeal or part of the thing with fanfiction, it's almost like weekly manga, where you're going through a story as it's being made. So there's a level like, and like it's interesting with manga because you can see the author grow in their art or their storytelling as it goes. But the habit I got into with my Danganronpa fix, and I'm still maintaining from a Hunter x Hunter fix, is I want to write the whole thing, and then so that way I'll have the first parts of the fic, and so I can keep details consistent, and it's just easier for me that way. So no, I haven't published any of it, but I'm sure it'll come up. If it doesn't come up in stream, I'll definitely tweet about it when I do start uploading it, because like I really like some of the things I've done with it. I'm really excited for some of the things I'm going to write. It's it's a neat story. I think it's really personal to me. I'm pretty satisfied, and I think there's some interesting stuff I've gotten there. But
so are you saying that you like kind of stagger chapter releases, or do you post the whole thing at once?
No, I do. So my plan with the Danganronpa fic, I think I published a chapter every other day, which in retrospect probably wasn't the best idea, because chapters tended to be like 5,000 to 10,000 words long. With the Hunter x Hunter fic, I'm trying to keep it more consistent of like 5,000 to 7,000 words long, but I'm probably going to do them weekly when I do upload it. So, but I'm not going to start uploading it until I finish it, and because I'm probably going to finish it, and I'm going to go through again and revise it all and make sure everything's consistent and make sure it's all where I want it to be, and then I'll do like final revisions and touch-ups before I actually start, or as I upload the chapters, basically. I thought I linked it. Oh, did I link it before? I'll link it again. It's on Archive of Our Own. So there's some other ones that you can read. It's pretty long. I'm warning you. But I'd love if someone read it. I don't know, because I think Mathwiz having read like one chapter of my Hunter x Hunter fic, and it's like it's the only time I've talked to someone with over voice who's actually read my stuff. Or read my fanfic specifically, but I'd love to hear what you think. So, Mathwiz, you're streaming all the next week. I will be streaming next week once, and then the week after that, we're gonna do the chapter 2 trial, and that'll be the last Danganronpa stream, because as I've talked about, it's kind of hard to stay engaged in talking about the thing we're going through when it's a mystery that's largely hinged on your first go through, right? So I just don't. I might still keep playing it on my own, but I'm not gonna be streaming it. And like I said, so as far as streams after that, it's gonna be the 2 video watching streams, or the one that's left over, and then going through my old video ideas until I get bored of that, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. So yeah. But anyway, any closing thoughts, Mathwiz, or we all good?
Thanks for having me on the stream.
Of course.
Next time will be pain.
Oh God, let's fucking go. All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out and sticking around, and we will catch Mathwiz's streams next week if you can. If you like watching my videos. Watching Mathwiz watch her videos should be a treat in itself. I might pop in if I have time. Should be fun. But anyway, and yeah, next week I'll also be watching it's going to be a long week of people watching their own videos. So whatever you do. But yeah, and then thanks everybody for hanging out. Have a good one.